to say Hot6, but I'm not positive. I'll have to double check
But
on that.
in either case, the first two, I think most people would have definitely picked both Empire and, VP and EG to be clear favorites. So in that sense, they have impressed. And when you look at the scores like this, it's always dangerous just to look at the points in the games played because it really
Yeah.
depends who you've played against.
Right.
And
Very
they
true.
got points against hard teams. So maybe if they're playing against some of the weaker teams later, they could grab a win or two. And if they get 2-2-0s, they're starting in the winners bracket, which I think a lot of people would not have expected. So they've been impressive no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, of course, a lot of that coming from their change in lineup, Charlotte leaving, and them coming off as TI champions. Most people were saying, well, it's not really the same team anymore. It's not the team that carried all the way to that championship title at TI4. But for now, let's return to our matchup coming up. The last match of the day is going to be Evil Geniuses coming off of a good win. They're going to have to play against Hot6. We talked a little bit about the experience factor and whatnot, but Winter, what do you think about Hot6 coming into this matchup? They've only played 2 matches so far at TI, so still not too much shown. What are the strengths they have against Evil Geniuses?
I think the primary strength they have is Jerax as a support. He's he takes a lot of initiative alone, be it glimmer caping, getting solo kills left and right, like bringing his team a lot of advantage during the laning phase by his early roaming and ganking. And the other strength the team has, I feel, is the hero pool of 4F. He plays some weird carries. In particular, that something that I like the most is his Husker. They do like to use it from time to time, and it has proven to be successful.
Yeah, so you mentioned Jerax as kind of the highlight of Hot6. We'll get to, of course, the other players too, including 4F. But Jerax, tell me a little bit more about Jerax, Sindarin. I mean, why is he able to do this? I mean, what makes him so special? Why is he strong in that regard that he's a little bit more aggressive?
It's just, first of all, he's a special story, right? Because he actually took a very big decision moving rather from Finland to Korea to play for MVP Hot6. So really made a big investment. And I asked him about it the other day, like what was the was it because you wanted to experience the culture, or was it like did you feel like it was your best opportunity at the time and whatnot? And he said he thought it was a good opportunity at the time. He really went in for it, and they've come such a long way, and it definitely has proven to be a good decision he made.
Yes.
As far as his play style, I think most people remember. First of all, he's very famous for his Earth Spirit, which we will not see in this tournament. It's not in Captain's mode. He also plays. He's generally just a very aggressive player. He's very mobile, and all you see when he plays, he puts so much emphasis on. Like it's almost like he's a hunter-seeker missile in the game. He just finds a lane and then target, next target, right? So he just keeps looking for ganks is the number one thing. So the heroes that he's really good with are heroes like Tusk, that is a very aggressive hero. And he is very good at playing the follow-up stun heroes, traditionally Leshrac and Lina, but he actually manages to even play them in support situations where he doesn't have a setup necessarily, just by using good engage angles and just being very experienced with them. So I think he's a great asset for their team to have. And of course, he brings in a lot of, I guess when he joined the team, brings a lot of experience from a completely different scene that Korea wasn't familiar with. So he has that edge as well. And we see this is his last game, I believe, the Bounty Hunter, another great hero for Jerax, right? Roaming, looking for kills.
There you go. I mean, it's definitely right up Bounty Hunter's alley, just exactly what you described about Jerax. Ben, what are your thoughts on Jerax? As Sin was mentioning, I mean, special story. And at the time, I mean, depending on the result, people could have said the story spun it in a very different way, right? If it didn't work out, obviously the number one result would have been people would say it's a bad choice. But even if it worked out, people could have said, I mean, going to a Korean team, what's the advantage of that? Are you going to learn much? But here he is playing at TI5 with his teammates on MVP Hot6. What's your take on that story?
Well, first, 2 things about it. I think that a lot of people were skeptical about him just because he did play Earth Spirit a lot, and Earth Spirit was notoriously broken at the time, and people were like, oh, he can only play Earth Spirit. But he has definitely shown that he's versatile, that he can thrive in the competitive scene. And another thing is that I think the Korean scene has a lot of raw talent, but not enough experience. And I think Jerax can bring that experience and kind of mold the team into what they are, similar to how PBD molds a lot of young new talent like Arteezy and Sumail into devastating giants that they are today. So I think it was even better for the Korean scene than for Jerax himself that he went over there and helped them out.
I think that's a really fair point. I mean, of course, both sides benefiting a lot from this move of Jerax joining MVP Hot6. Just because you brought up that note a little bit about the Korean players generally having good raw talent but not enough experience, in a lot of other esports, right? Korea's known to do well, but only because they play it super safe. And they're actually never really known to be the most innovative players. And what we've seen so far is that, sure, yeah, knowing the meta, knowing what your limits are and your team efficiency is very important. But at the same time, you've got to have those picks. You've got to be able to adapt in the middle of the drafting phase or even in the middle of a game. Where do you think the Korean team stands so far? I mean, we have 2 here at TI5.
I mean,
both
they're not
in MVP.
fully Korean because
Well,
there's JRX
true.
and there's March, right?
Right.
And both of these have had huge influences over their team. And again, it's just a mix of old and new. You need to draw from a large pool of patches before, so you have a wide array of strategies, and then you need some new stuff like the offlane Enchantress to throw your opponents off and just to catch your opponent off guard. So I mean, I think they've definitely shown that they have raw talent. A lot of people were also skeptical about that, but they are really, really good. And even give it a couple of months, we might see far more than 2 teams.
Yeah, and that's actually the point I wanted to bring out of that was that, yeah, JRX and March, we have these other players who have the much more historical experience and from other regions coming in, and that is allowing probably a good mix for those teams. But EG is not going to be a very easy opponent for MVP Hot6. I mean, some might say in Group B this is one of the more kind of distant ranges in terms of skill and experience coming into TI5. Winter, earlier we talked about Forev versus Sumail. How do you rate that matchup?
Forev is also a very aggressive player, but
Yeah.
they have very different hero pool, obviously because of the difference in position as well, but they play very similarly. They like to just go in and have faith in, like when you're playing a hero like Huskar, sometimes you just go in and you rely on your supports to do the rest, and you don't really think too much. You just have to make the first move and grab the opportunity and just trust your team to actually do the rest. Be it having a Dazzle to help to save you if you get into trouble, or just your team just to buy enough time for your team to just arrive onto the scene to just finish the job. So he's like one of the few players that he doesn't mind to take a hit for the team as long as you win the fight.
Yeah,
He's willing to make that first move. Unlike some of the other safer carries, they are very unwilling to make a risky move that would actually throw their own life away, but give their teammates opportunities to like clean up the fight.
Yeah, I mean, we saw one of those clips yesterday, right, with Hot6 for going
The
in.
Storm one, I
Yeah,
think.
the Storm with the steal on the Aegis, and then stays in to fight, knowing his teammates are going to come back, and then he ends up getting out with it too. So that type of play, of course, we talked about Sumail earlier. That's comparison we're trying to make here. Sumail also aggressive, and you guys said, I mean, dying's the name of the game for him, but he doesn't mind because he goes forward and his team covers up for it. At the same time, he does.
Quite what we said.
Well, okay, I phrased it a little bit poorly because it's not about dying. It's about going into those moments, and hopefully the point is to not to die in those moments. But Sumail also jumping in ahead of teams oftentimes or making plays on his own, even when it's just that 1v1 situation, trying to take that, in some ways, intimidation factor because he's very confident in his own skill level. On EG, where do you think we're going to see them prioritize a lot against Hot6, or because they feel that they're much ahead, are they just going to say, all right, we're just going to play our game, and Sumail, you play aggressive, we're going to have our other lanes play just as they were?
I think it's really hard to predict because, like Ben said, it's a lot for EG. It's a lot about like having tape on their opponents, like having experience playing against them. I feel like EG generally develop during a tournament, both against their opponents, but also against the metagame itself. I think they've never played MVP Hot6 before. I don't remember ever seeing that matchup.
Yeah, I think they've never played.
So it's really difficult to say what PPD's approach is to the game. Like, I think judging from what we've seen from Hot6, I think keeping the idea of running a defensive support on himself could be a really valuable asset against the super aggression of JRX. And else just, I think basically if they just stick to the plan, if they get their draft and if they play well, they'll probably be able to 2-0, right? So
There's 2 heroes that I'm looking for in particular. One is Treant, just because if you aren't used to playing against a particularly aggressive support player, you don't exactly know where it's going to be. And a lot of time you're going to be sitting around wasting your time trying to figure out where they're going to go. And with Treant, it's a lot easier. You can just pull and then just living armor them without really being in fear of missing out on an opportunity. And then the second one is going to be Naga Siren. Naga Siren, again, is a super safe pick. If you're behind, you can, Song of the Siren, and I think it just sets up for a very clean fight where if you get caught off guard by something expected, you turn it into a fight that you can't expect. So, I mean, those are the safe picks that I would look to.
Okay. Now, before we move on, because we've just seen EG, of course, fresh in our minds, and most of our fans our community does know who EG is, who's on that team, how they play. But let's take a quick replay at the defining moments of yesterday's game for MVP Hot6 against Vici Gaming. This is a game they won, game 1 of their matchup in a best of 2.
And this was, of course, after the huge Roshan play by Storm Spirit.
And that, yeah, so this is where already the game has already turned a little bit in favor of Hot6 going for the finish.
Well, they couldn't deal with CDEC gods, but they are taking it to Super and Vici Gaming now.
They've actually been playing Lina a lot, almost as much as
Yeah.
LGD. I
Hot
would say.
6 likes to pick Lina a lot on support position and even their mid player.
And we have, I mean, in general, we've seen teams considering Lina quite often, or at least being afraid of their opponents considering it, especially in that mid lane matchup. There's the GG. I mean, after this, as we've been mentioning, of course, we can't just mention and tease you guys. We do have the Russian steal here, as we see, for jumping in.
I think this was the play of the day yesterday. Maybe yeah, I think this was better than the Rubik toss personally, but this one was amazing.
Yeah,
just
quite
amazing timing.
He doesn't only steal it; he gets the kill
Yeah.
as well with the jump in, and he drops his treads before going in, just anticipating that, you know, it's like a very low risk. If he doesn't manage to get the steal, he can always just jump out and get his treads back. But really preparing well for the setting it up very nicely. Just a very classic Storm Spirit steal here from.
I mean, he got a bit of help from the Sigil as well, giving them vision. So he was able to time that because of the
Sorry, not
Sigil.
Forev. That was MP.
Or MP, yeah, my bad.
Forev
I
is the
keep
guy
saying,
playing
yeah.
Lina this game. Yeah.
So
I got it wrong earlier today as well. So.
Yeah, so MP
It's
going
probably
in
my fault.
for that steal. But yeah, as you were saying, I mean, just gutsy play from him too, going in and then stealing, staying in that fight. And by the end, we see him just jumping around and helping clean up the entire fight for Hot6, and they go forward for the win. So yeah, that's what we've been mentioning. Hot6 also a little bit aggressive, and again, EG no tape on Hot6, or at least none directly. Of course, I mean, if they wanted to, they could spend the time. But even then, right, Hot6 not as much material compared to some of the other Western teams we have at TI5.
Even their mid player MP is also very aggressive. That's how they sing a lot of their plays together, because Jerax and MP are both very aggressive players, so they think alike, and a lot of stuff happen because they have a lot of chemistry in their playstyle. That's what I feel that's part of a lot of their success back in Southeast Asia.
All right, so as we're waiting, so far we've seen quite a few interesting picks. As we wait for both teams to be ready for their very last match of the day, personally, are there any other kind of pocket or niche strategies that you guys want to see, or something that revolves around a certain hero? Because otherwise, I mean, obviously we can list off the usuals in the current meta just off the top of our head, right? We've got the gyros, we've got, of course, we've got the quaps and whatnot. Of course, Lesh, you can't forget that. But what else would you guys like to see, or just personal preference? Like, well, it'd be really neat to see this type of hero or this type of strategy coming out from any
Titan.
teams.
Woo!
I think I'd like to see more Nyx Assassin. I think Nyx Assassin counters
That's
Queen
a
of Pain.
That's
and
actually a
Lush Rat.
hero Hot6 tend to pick against a certain intelligence hero.
Yeah.
They like to use it on their offlane position. I've seen that a few times before.
Decent versus Storm, good versus Queen of Pain, Lush Rat. Like the in heroes that can get out of control. Like the bigger they are, the more they get hit by mana burn, and you can just sunlock them and kill them. And you always have to play differently versus a Nyx Assassin. Like you just have to be, you know.
You have to get
tiny bit more
BKB
capable.
against Nyx.
Yeah, you have to get BKB, and you know, again.
You know, that could be one of the things, you know, against Sumia, because he doesn't like to get BKB.
That's true. Yeah, so, you know, oftentimes surprising a lot of people by not getting that BKB and still succeeding very well into his games. But yeah, you guys bring up a good point. Overall, you mentioned Hot6 does bring up the Nyx Assassin sometimes. Sumail doesn't like to get BKB. Maybe we'll see that happen.
There's another
this
hero
matchup.
that I would associate to Hot6 as well. In the past, they like to pick Night Stalker to control the vision of the enemy. It's something not a lot of teams like to do. Like they would pick it in specific against a certain hero like Beastmaster. Like you have the Hawk to scout, but he has his ultimate to counteract that. Or they pick it against a hero like Bat Rider. You rely on your vision to start fights and to play around the game. Like you control the tempo of the game, but without vision, you are not able to do your job properly. So sometimes they do have this Night Stalker pick, which I feel if you pick it at the right situation, it could be really hard to deal with.
It's also perfect for Jerax, right? It's just player hero combination again.
He's very good if you give him vision, and he's very good at moving, at positioning himself at the right spot to get off like a key spell without setup. So there's a lot of chemistry between the heroes and the players themselves.
Yeah, it sounds like Hot6 definitely have quite a few tricks up their sleeves in terms of taking advantage. If the opponents also try to go for a niche pick or something, we will be able to or Hot6, not we. We're not playing Hot6's shares. I'm getting confused here. But Hot6 will be able to kind of counteract that with their own pocket picks. So, yeah, that's interesting to see. Would be pretty exciting to see any of these or, of course, other combination coming
And
up in
Tinker.
our last match.
Tinker, I think, has been overlooked. Sumail plays it as well as MP. I wouldn't be too surprised to see it on either side. But, you know, if you see a lot of those same heroes banned out, Leshrac, Queen of Pain, and what's the other one? Storm Spirit, then I think it's a good one.
Okay. Well, it looks like players are already in their rooms. Of course, EG coming off of a match already played. Sure, it was a win, but they did have to play through that. On the other side, we do have MVP Hot6 getting all ready for their last match of the day also against somewhat of a titan in their group in Evil Genius. This draft of Game 1 just kicking off, ladies and gentlemen. The last match of the day here on the main stream. MVP Hot6 starting the match rather on the Dire side with EG on Radiant.
And the first pick is going to go MVP's way, so I think judging from how much they like playing Lina, I would be surprised if they don't play a really, really strong Lesh as well on MP. Those heroes kind of have a decent overlap in how they work. Lane dominators, very spell heavy, so
There we go.
It's very possible that MVP Hot6 will try to grab that as their first pick, especially with EG just targeting out the Lina. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lina ban, not one we've seen often in the first phase, but
I mean, it shows that PPD bans are always specific towards his opponents.
that is true. Yeah, he's not always just going off of blind bans just because of the meta. Definitely having done his research against his opponents. So what are the already with a Lina ban? That means, again, a lot of other high priorities open, so you just does that change how they want to go on with their second ban?
It depends on how they want to deal with Sumail. I feel like PPD generally either gives Sumail a great one-on-one matchup, or he gives like Dazzle, for example, just come in and heal a couple of times, or Living Armor just to upset that balance a little bit. And if you're like Lina, I think Lina dominates a lot of the good int heroes in mid. So if it's not going to be a strict one-on-one, you have to try and think of some ways, maybe an aggressive Jerax or whatever it may be.
Okay, the Tusk being chosen as a ban. Of course, EG playing their Tusk very well, and as most teams are doing in the current meta.
And MVP Hot6 actually end up banning the Tusk themselves, even though they love playing it. So this is going to be... EG will now decide whether they want to give away Lesh to get the bounty, similar to what they did against VG Gaming. Because I really don't think MVP will first pick... here we go. So they banned the Shaker. So now we have the whole field open again. There's Gyro, Bounty, Lesh, Naga. So many choices here for Hot6. They might actually even first pick the Naga Siren.
Possibly, yes.
I'm starting to
they
sound.
get another second
I'm starting to sound like I just home in on only this point again. But now with the Quap ban and being on Radiant side, what do you guys think about the Shadow Fiend coming out for EG for Sumail? I mean, sure, there are a couple other heroes that can contest it pretty well, but oftentimes the point has been, even on Radiant side, sure, if Quap's on the other side, they can try to contest the SS farm a little bit. Is this a bit more of an open sign, especially because you do get to take the first two picks for your side for EG?
It's just versus Leshrac. It's extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's not a desirable lane. And one thing is the Lesh matchup, but the other is you just know that MVP are going to gank that mid lane. So they want to roam it, especially now. If they pick Shadow Fiend and they don't pick Bounty, they're going to make it like even harder on themselves, because it could be a Bounty Lesh just running just taking over the mid lane. And it's very difficult.
True.
So.
I think you want to pick a mid hero which is more self-sustainable, has an escape ability, or somehow to defend himself rather than a Shadow Fiend.
Yeah. And then, as you guys mentioned, Naga being picked up right away first, and then the Gyro following suit right after.
This is going to be a Bounty pick, I think. They have a great mid laner that is very good at fighting early mid game, so a good pairing with Bounty. The one downside to Bounty here is that ganking Gyro as Bounty is ridiculously difficult, because the moment you come in close and just attack him, he just clicks Rocket Barrage, and you actually have to run away, because level 2 or level 3 Rocket Barrage can kill you from full health. Bounty has very low health. He's got good armor, but Rocket Barrage doesn't really care about it. So, yeah, I still think they would go for it for the larger, like the grander scheme of things.
All right.
I like the Bounty, but as like last game it didn't work out too well. I like it a little bit more when you see more of the cores. And again, Gyro, as you said, not really a vulnerable core to the Bounty Hunter gank. And generally, most mids are going to be underhanded versus Leshrac. But like, let's say it's, I don't know, even a Viper or something that's really annoying for the Lesh to deal with. It's it's going to be difficult for them to kill. Especially when Evil Geniuses almost always has a defensive support in the mid lane. But does play well.
Question is, do you think MVP are going to ban out Treant just because it's always a counter to Bounty, like no matter where he is? So let's say the alternatives for PPD are, let's say Wyvern, Abaddon, Omni, and Dazzle, whatever, like those four. They have to be in the right place at the right time, but Treant could always help against Bounty. It's an extremely good counter pick to the Bounty Hunter in general, and it worked beautifully against Vici Gaming, so I would like to see Hot6 ban it over the Dazzle that they just banned, because I think it's actually going to be a bigger problem.
I mean, it's a bit too much of a commitment if they ban both, right? Because then they're leaving open several other choices.
They have an edict against living armor, but generally Leshracs these days don't want to skill that in the mid lane. Maybe one value point just to remove living armor could work, but that's
I mean, later you have
an
Pulse
extra spell
Nova.
cast. Yeah.
I mean, I would agree. I think that Naga and Treant are just really good versus their playstyle in general. And I mean, they could also just go for different supports like Darkseer or sorry, not Darkseer, Disruptor, for example, to set up with a Naga Siren. So they don't always have to go for the super defensive supports.
Yeah, and, you know, as you mentioned, Disruptor, we haven't seen that in the last match being banned out both games. Not yet so far. Plenty still more to go through. But Winter, what do you think? It sounds like EG, I mean, they could just play this out again just with their comfort heroes and just how they usually play. How is Hot6 supposed to deal with that?
I think as of now, because they are up against the Naga and Gyro, a lot of heavy team fight. So either you go for more speed pushing with the bounty, you want to make the map, like split the map up all the time, so bounty is there to track everyone, and you have decent like wave clear with actually very good wave clear already with the Leshrac with his spam. So you might want to consider if you want to go down that direction, split up the map, ensure that Bounty Hunter is constantly tracking. And Gyro is not a very mobile hero. He kind of needs to he kind of can't be everywhere at once to take care of all the lanes. So if you move him around, and there's always an opportunity to gank him, since when he doesn't have a BKB, he doesn't have any means of escaping from you.
Okay, the Wyvern ban from EG themselves. Taking that out of the pool. Taking a lot of times on these second bans. I mean, both teams really trying to think through all of the other options.
Isn't the Wyvern ban a little strange?
Yeah, I'm thinking, why would he want to ban the Wyvern? Because usually there's a reason. It sort of tells what you want to pick, but
Right.
I can't really
Could
figure
be
out.
Wisp.
Yeah, maybe
That's what
Wisp
I was
as well.
thinking too, but
That could be it. Like maybe it's just for the relocate, or they want to go for something that hits really hard in the mid lane, that plays in the mid lane.
Yeah, but Sumail almost never plays the physical damage aside from Storm.
Templar
So-
Assassin.
TA?
Oh yeah, he plays TA, that's true.
But
TA versus...
yeah, TA Lesh, again, then you force him to skill Edict, but it's actually really annoying in the super early levels. TA's Refraction is not that powerful, and you just run in with Bounty and Hero a couple of times with Orb of Venom, and Leshrac just starts laying into you with Lightning Storm and just right clicks. So I think this is a very hard matchup for TA. Now, what EG can do is they can run TA with Treant, which they love to do, because then you
Yeah, the
have
double armor.
Refraction and Living Armor, and Refraction actually doesn't tick down until Living Armor is off. The way the
Okay.
mechanic works, I do believe that's the order. Or is it the other way around? No, it has to be in that order. Because Refraction, you need to take, like, what is it,
The
more
main
than
point, it doesn't stack.
X?
Like,
Right.
It doesn't,
I mean, that's of course the
Yeah,
bottom
they
line
don't
to
go
take
off
away
at the
from
same
that.
time. So it could be very powerful here for EG if they feel confident.
Well, definitely not feeling too bad about the Storm ban, of course, from Hot6, as you guys have been mentioning. That mid-lane matchup, just forcing EG into a smaller choice pool against Leshrac when it's already going to be fairly difficult.
And they banned the Bloodseeker, which I think Hot6 has played at least twice so far.
yeah, they've played that a couple of times.
Yeah.
The Wyvern is also strange just because it's not terribly great versus Omni Knight, which I think is actually really good versus Winter Wyvern, which EG is probably one of the more likely teams to pick that hero up.
We're still trying to figure out the Wyvern.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll be able to get a clear answer by the end. If not, I mean, maybe it was just a ban for, you know, other miscellaneous reasons, but
I mean, it could also just be because Evil Genius is on Radiant. They won't have Quap, so that leaves, like, if you have Bounty Hunter and the Winter Wyvern messing with the mid lane, it might just upset that balance that Sumail might need.
Oh, that okay. This
Wyvern,
is already a very good like reason why you're banning the Wyvern, because
But-
Cool Embrace is a very good counter towards the Focus Fire.
But that can have been the idea at the time, because he just used all his reserve time. If that was what he was setting up for, he would not like drain 40 extra seconds.
I mean,
unless
it's
he's
just weird though.
unless they were suddenly like, oh, Wind Ranger is a great idea, but we could also go for this, and then they're
Right.
like suddenly got a secondary idea and they're debating that. But this doesn't. This Winter Wyvern ban into Wind Ranger didn't look like the plan from the get-go, at least.
Okay, but I mean, definitely working out whether it's in hindsight or foresight.
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's a mid hero that can defend herself because she
Yes.
has wind run. So
That's
she's
Will it be
able.
mid though? Doesn't I think Universe plays Wind Ranger too.
Yeah,
I-
couldn't it be an offlane?
he
could-
generally
yeah.
plays as spellcasters in the mid lane, and Storm I view is like half and half. But
Mhm.
We've seen it before, Wind Ranger from Sumail.
yeah, I mean we've seen it before, but it doesn't match up very well for Slash. I feel like.
Well, I mean, the options are open, but I mean, if you put it that way, it just not many heroes seem to match up well against Slash. So at that point, maybe you are just choosing the lesser of two evils as long as you can survive. And maybe this is one of those rare cases where they're just like, all right, let's take it a little bit slower in the mid lane, keep Sumail just safe, and we'll be content with that going into the mid to late.
Darkseer.
Darkseer.
Wombo combo.
Universe's best, least favorite hero.
Best least
Yeah.
favorite.
He was widely regarded as the best Darkseer player. And in an interview, or I believe it was in an interview, he said it's like his least favorite hero to play. So it's kind of unfortunate. If you're like exceptionally good with a hero you don't like to play, but you just have to play
You
in
have to.
tournament, maybe he just got bored with it. Maybe he just feels like he needs something new.
Right.
Actually, loved playing it the first 10 games. He's like, oh, not Darkseer again. You know, it
That
be.
could happen. What do you guys think about the Undying for a Hot 6?
I think it's strange just because Naga and Gyro I already feel like are very, very good versus it. Wind Ranger's also pretty good versus it. And then I'm not sure. How do you feel with her?
I think it's just mainly because they want to be hyper aggressive with their heroes and Undying, like Lash plus Bounty. We've seen this tree together a couple of times and it has very good synergy together. So it's not about what the opponent has, it's what I want to have in my lineup that works well together. I feel Hot6 is just counting on their synergy in between the heroes rather than, okay, the opponent has this, that it's really good versus Undying. So we don't really want, so they are more focused on what they want to have as their lineup. A lot of team fight and good disables among the MVP Hot6 heroes already.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
not really feeling this Witch Doctor pick, to be honest.
It's a good way of defending the tombstone if there's no song, I guess.
But
yeah,
it
but
does
there
seem
is.
like it's.
I mean, when song is on cooldown,
It does seem like MVP Hot6's draft isn't completely unified. Like, it's not just one whole group. It's
Yeah.
just like they're picking strengths. Like, all right, Lesh is open. That's pretty strong. Bounty Iron Lesh works well. Okay, Undying's all right with these three. Okay, we have an Undying Witch Doctor works well with that, I
Yeah.
guess.
I don't feel like they're adapting terribly well to EG's draft. That is, like, they don't have like a good combo breaker for Naga Siren
Right.
spells. They don't have terribly great ways of defending the Tombstone, or even like shutting out the Darkseer. I mean, I think it's going to be quite the task.
So what more is Hot6 looking for then? I mean, if we were to be in their shoes, even if it does seem a little bit all over the place.
very heavy core, I feel. Something that hits really hard.
Right.
Oh my god, anti-mage, they ban Shadow Demon. I don't know, probably.
Bristleback?
Bristle is also open. We didn't talk much about Bristle at all today. Had a couple instances yesterday.
Yeah,
Also
but
saw
He's
it.
actually really good against the Radiant lineup, apart from Focus Fire. Oh, here we go.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was about to bring up the EG and then I figured it was just going to be Champ
So-
Protector, so...
Vacuum into Overgrowth, call down.
Yep.
Sounds fun.
And then Song of the Siren while everything is landing.
Well, Hot6, I mean, nothing's going to obviously single-handedly stop that combination coming out from EG.
I feel like it's quite worrisome for MVP that they must have known going in that Treant was definitely going to be on
Yeah.
PBD's radar, and they let it get through all the way to the last pick, and they have not picked heroes that are good against Living Armor either, apart from Edict. So, you know, okay.
Okay,
You get your
Tinker.
wish, Ben.
Well, there you go, yeah.
This is a way of removing Living Armor. March of the Machines is very quick at getting rid of that.
Yeah, so the Tinker does come out. How does this really round out the Hot6 lineup, though? I mean, because the first four still were...
It's another way of protecting the Tombstone. Right?
Yeah.
Like March plus Tombstone
True.
is ridiculously hard to fight against, and it's not that great versus Song, but it's, you know, you want to be able to control and zone opponents out. And if you don't have the Tombstone wave anymore, you just pretty much already on the retreat. So Tinker's a good way of setting up a good fortification, doesn't get affected too much by treant and wall, and can stay out of the fight and out of the fray.
And it's a really good spot from MVP Hot6 that EG don't have any catch. It's very difficult for them to gank the Tinker once he gets a Blink Dagger. Their best chance is to try to like power shot into the tree line and maybe find him there and then get a shackle.
Shadow Blade, Wind Ranger,
But
I guess.
yeah, maybe that's the build here. But I think MVP's
Homing missile.
MVP's lineup is really interesting when it comes to like the whole zone control thing, as Ben said. If they get together, they can really be hard to fight into.
All right, well, we'll see if MVP Hot6 can pull it off against EG. Game 1 of their best-of-2 series, ladies and gentlemen.
Tinker can be a nightmare for any team.
Absolutely, and as I said, picking it in this situation, you're obviously going to be very confident. MP certainly must know what he's doing to pick it up against this lineup from EG. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with the final series today on this mainstream. Evil Geniuses up against Hot6. Big shout out to any of you joining us from that mainstream, from the desk. As the game, well, we're ready to get it underway here with myself, ODPixel, and of course Draskell. Shout out, of course, to Wepas, who will be doing the observing. And also big shout out to Scriff, who was observing in the EG versus Vici game. Be sure to spread those guys some love. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with this matchup. It's going to be an exciting one. I'm excited to see the Tinker.
I want to know. Okay, I think it's support Lesh. Yeah. Or no, wait. No, he's buying Null. Never mind. All right, he has a ton of regen. Okay, yeah, so it is going to be potentially Tinker mid. Maybe they don't want the matchup of Lesh versus Wind Ranger. Maybe they just don't feel okay doing that.
It certainly looks like it. They're going to opt towards that lane, side lane Lesh instead of the mid lane. EG looking to secure themselves the top rune. Certainly will find it off the back of this. And Tinker will be able to get himself that bottom bounty rune. And will be able to get himself on that way to the bottle. And indeed, there we go. Tinker's first. And depending on how it goes, maybe last performance here at the International 2015. Let's see what MP can do on it. And see how well he can cope in that mid lane against Sumail on his Wind Ranger. And so far, the block at the moment, they're going to be that point part of the lane. Looking to go slightly better for Sumail as he will be able to get that high ground advantage. So nice start there for the Wind Ranger. Lanes elsewhere across the map. We've got Fear at the moment on his own at the bottom on this gyrocopter. Over on the side of Hot6, you've got Sun on his Undying, also joined up by Jerax for the time being here to look for a bit of harassment onto Fear, but the sentry drop just in time. And with the rocket barrage, Jerax goes, okay, he can see me. He can see me. Jerax plays a little bit careful, but dual lane's coming out from EG at least for the time. PPT's going to head down to the bottom lane, and again, the rocket barrage again. Jerax taking a lot of damage here. They will be able to get rid of that sentry. But
I think he tried to tango it and just missed.
I see. So it took a little bit longer than intended. But so what are we thinking about the lanes? Who's going to come out on top here?
I think mid should still favor Sumail. With tree armor, better base damage, better animation. Well, Tinker actually, I think, has a little bit higher base damage at the start, but Wind Ranger has better int gain. So after a few levels, Sumail will definitely start pulling ahead. And with tree armor, normally, if you just spam rockets, you can kind of win a lane based on that. But I don't think it's going to work here for the Tinker. He's going to have to rely on something else because PPD can just armor him over and over again. And then top, it's just Universe and Aoi. You're going to have a Leshrac up here trying to farm. It shouldn't be too much of a problem for Forev. So this lane for me is more of a wash. And then bottom, it's just going to be Fear farming. I don't think they're going to be able to stop him with these heroes.
Indeed, let's see how the farm game goes out so far. Mid lane, 7 for 5, 5 for 2. Slight edge here for Sumail, as you were anticipating. MP, of course, on the Tinker. There's the potential if the side of Hot6 are able to get those stacks going in the jungle with the old March of the Machines. He'll be able to catch himself up. And just trying to spam back on Sumail. Power shot coming through will just be off the mark. And Jerax, at the moment, he's on this bounty hunter, interesting enough, he's kind of focusing on the bottom lane. He's not really made any kind of movement towards the mid. He's more focused on trying to make Fear's life as hard as possible in this early game.
I mean, he might have been watching the last series and seen how ineffective the roaming actually was. So by sitting here and at least getting some semblance of experience, he might be trying to put himself in a better position to hit 6 faster. And then once you get the track speed going, and a couple other of the heroes on the team of Hot6 actually have some levels under their belt, they can maybe look to make something happen. Because right now, even if he were to go mid, what is he going to do? Force a wind run? Like, there's 100 mana investment. He probably uses that much mana using Invis just to get over there.
Again, they tried to go a little bit aggressive on Fear, but with the living armor from PPT, he's going to be A-OK mid lane. Sumail and Hot6. MP just trading hits. And the farm indeed on the off lane here. How's it looking at the moment for the side of EG? Are they finding much? Well, you've got Universe, of course, on that Darks here, getting last hits, of course, and Aoi just creating some space here, trying to keep tabs on Heat on his Witch Doctor. And Forever on the Leshrac, still managing to farm fairly alright. 12 CS at the moment, 4 denies. And is, in fact, slightly ahead of Fizz Gyrocopter, who's having a bit of a tougher time down there on the bottom lane.
Yeah, he's being pressured a bit. It's mainly because Jerax and his positioning, like he's been really good about doing pretty much exactly what he's doing right now. Just forcing Fear off the wave.
Wow, he's getting caught out here by the stun here. The body blocks are real as well. He's trying to escape it with the surge. No! Not enough, even with the living armor. Forever will be able to claim first blood there, killing Aoi on his Naga. And, well, what a start there for MVP.
Yeah, Forev's going to be quite happy with that. He actually has almost enough for Arcanes already, and it's only 4 minutes in. So the spam coming out from him, he'll be able to keep both Universe and Aoi pretty low, assuming Aoi goes back top. I'm not sure if he's just going to run back up there. Okay, looks like he will. They're just going to keep that dual offline going. They're feeling confident that it's going to be fine. They just want to make sure that he gets to like level 6 at a decent timing, because then having the song available just means that you can stop a really bad team fight from going too poorly for you. And the Tinker versus Windranger matchup getting more lopsided. Kind of expected that to happen eventually with the utilization of tree armor and Tinker's inability really to harass against this. It's kind of tough for MP right now.
Indeed, and that is, of course, with Tinker going for this kind of skill build that you'd expect to happen. Actually, it was saving those 3 points there. Now he's put them all into March. So he's got those 2 points in the laser, the 3 in March here at level 5 at the moment. And indeed, Sumail just having a slightly better time here in lane, and maybe looking to go a bit deeper here with Illusions, just harassing back MP on this Tinker. Jerax, thanks to the fact that he has been sticking in that bottom lane, has found himself the level 3 now on the Bounty Hunter. And now going to be able to soak up a little bit from this pull as well. They're looking towards mid here as well. MP a little bit low. Has still got a bottle charge. Aoi looking for a potential wraparound. They're going to find the Shackle here. MP could be in a lot of trouble. Net as well moving in. They'll take down the Tinker. There will be a TP coming in from the Witch Doctor. It's going to get cancelled. It was too late anyway. And the rotation from Aoi there securing that kill for Sumail in the mid lane.
That was a really, really nice rotation coming in from Aoi. He just understands the fact that given the way that Hot6 are warding right now, like obviously you put a ward mid, but it's very easy to bypass in that position. I think they just put that ward there, maybe anticipating the fact that Naga could have been bottom instead. But I'm not entirely sure if Hot6 were expecting a dual offlane. And he smoked up again. Top lane though.
Top lane indeed, trying to go on Universe. He's just got enough mana here for the Surge. The Maledict not going to be quite enough, especially with the living armor coming in from PPD. Again, Hot6 Aoi applying a bit of pressure here onto MP. And again, another TP was being looked for from Jerax, but he ends up cancelling it again. Just trying to scare back EG, trying to help out MP get that farm in the mid lane. That he is certainly falling behind more and more so against Sumail. 37-13 on your Wind Ranger, 21 for 2 on your Tinker.
Yeah, Sumail's owning right now. Like 6 minutes in, having that much CS. That's extremely good in a 1v1 matchup. Like even with the help of tree armor, just showcasing that the Wind Ranger like auto attack animation and base damage is insane.
I mean, still in terms of farm, MVP Hot6 doing a good job of keeping tabs on Fear. He's 19 for 2 at the moment. You look at the Lesh, 39 for 6, and of course Lesh did get that first blood as well. So the difference between the two cores at the moment is pretty hefty between these sides, and they do catch out Universe here nicely with the stuns after the search has been used. Living Armor's not going to be enough, and again, the top lane getting themselves another kill, this time onto Universe. More gold into the pocket of Leshrac, and even though the mid lane might not be going too great for Hot6, the safe lane certainly is.
And their Undying is farming like a beast, like 34 and 20 right now. He's pretty much just keeping Fear almost out of experience range sometimes. It's kind of insane, actually, that just the Bounty Hunter being in the vicinity and just sitting in that lane is doing so much to stop Fear from being able to like get anything done. And normally, you know, you'd be able to pop a Rocket Barrage and a Leech Seed and maybe go for a kill, but PPD doesn't even have enough money to buy Dust. Like he's totally broke, and he spends what money he has on just one Observer Ward, so somebody's going to have to buy some sentries or something if they want to do something in this bottom lane.
Look at that again, Sumail just moving in, keeping MP incredibly low. This lane going to be very hard for the Tinker to find a decent amount of farm in, now that the Wind Ranger has got that lead. Bottom lane, 3 heroes at the moment on the side of EG are in the area. Fear, PPD, and Howie, of course, on his Naga. Just trying to make the pulls, making the most of it. Actually leaving the top lane unattended for the time being, because Universe has headed into the jungle on the Darks here, starting to look to clear up some of the camps. Jerax now moving in onto PPD. The level's still looking pretty good on the bounties. Level 5 at the moment, very close to 6. With the Orb of Venom here trying to chase down PPD. Now with the Shuriken as well, bringing him incredibly low. PPD still alive though with the living armor. And now Fear turning around the Rocket Barrage. They do lose PPD, but Fear and Aoi, they find one. They're going to look for Jerax as well with the cooldown. It's going to hit. Our Universe comes in with the wraparound. They take 2 kills back in return for losing PPD. But all in all, a nice turnaround and bit of reaction play there from EG.
I think it should have been pretty obvious the Universe was kind of in the area, right? He hadn't been shown in lane for quite a while. Ferev's been able to hit the tower. It's almost a half HP. Maybe they just figured, you know, we see an opportunity to go for the tree kill. It's probably worth it. The Bounty Hunter's level 5 right now at 8 minutes in, so Jerax is not going to have a level 6 timing that's too bad. He'll probably hit it like 10 minutes, 11 minutes. And then you can start looking to try to take team fights from there. The other thing, too, that's cool about having Bounty and Tinker on your team is whenever you throw out tracks, you're pretty much ensuring that Heat-Seeking Missile is always going to land, right? And it does a substantial amount of DPS during the mid-game. And most Tinker players will max that secondary after March is already maxed out, and then you have 2 points and the lasers. So
they're going to try and go for Fear here. Sun and Jerax moving in, but the cooldown as well, and the Rocket Barrage is just too much damage. Hot6 just have to back up. Jerax getting very close to losing his life there, keeping himself right back. He's coming as well, but they just can't seem to kill Fear at this moment in time. Mid lane, trying to go in on Sumail with his rotation from Ferrer, but Sumail is just going to be speedy and head back up to the high ground. Nothing going to be achieved here by this Leshrac rotation. If anything, just giving a lot of space on the top lane for PPD to soak up some experience. Bottom lane with the Tricore, ready to start pushing, but Fear's there, ready to defend his tower. Has got the Wraith Band now complete. And to finish that, Aquila on top of the phase boost. Jerax looking for the wraparound. Fear keeping himself very, very safe. He is all alone, though, and we do have 4 members of Hot6 coming down towards this bottom lane. On PPD, and well, with that space created, MVP are going to look to try and finish off this tier 1. He's got the sentry down, well aware that Jerax is around the corner, hovering around the jungle. Fear indeed just going back to the tier 2. And indeed, yeah, just making sure that the rest of that Aquila was delivered out safely. And he's under the sentry now, and Jerax realizes it, and he can't get out of range. Easy solo kill there for Fear, as Jerax just a little bit out of place there, unfortunately, to that sentry.
yeah, he pings it out too. He realizes the sentry's in the area, so stuff like that really only happens once. As soon as you get the 1 death, you're like, okay, well, there's a sentry there. I'll just deward it next time. But because of that huge rotation, EG, they're also going to be pressuring top in the meantime. MVP looking to potentially try to go on Fear, but his awareness is so good. Like, he realized as soon as he sees like 1 or 2 heroes from Hot 6, it's like, yeah, they're probably going to 5-man dive me. He just backs up, doesn't give anything away for free. And his team is trying to do something elsewhere. Sumail farming some stacks here, it looks like.
They're sending TPs in here, the side of MVP. If they can catch out Sumail, it's going to be pretty big. Heen moving in with Forever as well on Leshrac. Can they find the stun? Yes, they can. Sumail in a lot of trouble. He's got the living armor. Is it going to be enough to keep him alive? He's trying to turn around a power shot. He will go down. MVP able to claim themselves that kill here. And a big kill as well, because Sumail so far has been doing very well. Top of the net worth board for EG at least. But still, it is Forever overall that's at the top on the Leshrac with 5,000 at the moment in the bank.
The first blood, and what, he's got 2 kills, 1 assist right now, including that first blood, so he's had a pretty awesome early game start, getting very close to picking up that bloodstone. I think he needs, well, Vitality Booster in the recipe, so he's like 1,100, maybe a little bit less away from completing that. Once it's out, I would actually imagine Hot 6 to feel pretty comfortable in trying to pressure. You can walk up to towers with Tinker and just drop a March, and then you get like 1 or 2 points and an Edict after a 4-up hits level 10. Or, yeah, at level 10, I think you get the first point, and then the next one's not until 12, because you want to get Pulse Nova level 2. But you push in, and you drop Marches, and then EG are going to be like, how do we defend this?
Yeah, Hot 6, they're going to look for a push here on the top lane. EG are there, ready to go with the smoke. Aoi being searched for, he has got the song if he wants to try and catch them out. And here we go, the aggressive song holding Forev and Sun in place. They're ready to go for this. PPD has got the art if needed. The cooldown will catch Sun. Tombstone has been dropped down. Sun getting low. They do get the death ward and the bounces though. Heen doing a lot of work, but the net comes out just in time to cancel it. They've killed one. They're looking for a second. The wall gets dropped. Shackle shot won't connect. Power shot as well, just off the mark. Heen able to dodge that one out. It's just Undying falling on the side of Hot 6. And EG having to back themselves out of that. But they do get at least 1 pick off there from that engagement.
How did they only get 1? That really seems like they should have killed at least 2 or 3. Like, Overgrowth is massive. If you hover over the range, he actually could have hit, I think, almost all 3 heroes at the same time. But maybe he was just really concerned about getting the 1 down and making sure that Undying didn't live through the first couple of seconds of the fight. The other thing, too, is I think the call down actually came out so fast that maybe PPD wasn't able to walk into a better position fast enough. But they'll walk away from that with the kill. I'm sure EG are fine with it. They force at least a little bit of a reaction out of Hot6, but for now, that leaves Tinker pretty much free to do what he wants. He's picked up his bots now.
Yeah, 12 minutes in, that's not bad at all, especially, you know, regarding how the lane was going against Samael at the start. This is good news for the Tinker, and we'll see what he's able to do across the map to indeed just accelerate his farm. He's coming up to 5k, he's only 200 gold behind Samael. And Tinker being Tinker, if he plays it right, he should be able to catch up and keep himself on top of the farm game.
Yeah, Tinker is notorious for being able to delay the game, maintain a very high level of farm, even in the most adverse circumstances. I feel like that hero is going to be the bane of EG. Like, if they have a hard time finishing the game, it's going to be because of that hero. And even though the Lesh is farming very well right now, it's not like... Lesh is something that EG know they can manage, which is why they continually let it through the draft. So they're not really worried about that. But I'm not sure how comfortable they are playing against Tinker.
MVP, they really want to try and take this tier 1. They've still got 4 heroes hanging around here. It is just Aoi on the Naga at the moment on the top lane. MP continues to farm. Talking about the farm, Hot6 for Rev now on his Leshrac. Has got that Bloodstone complete here. So 14-minute Bloodstone, not too shabby at all here for the Leshrac.
Well, it is a safe lane farm. And he got first blood too. So yeah, he is stacked for sure. I think we're likely to be seeing some tower pressure here. And yep, here comes the Tinker.
Tinker's there to join in the fun, so it's going to be very hard for the side of EG to do anything to stop this. Pressure being applied, and looks like EG just going to look to apply some pressure with their own. Bottom lane, we have a bit of a push coming in, but here's MP ready to try and slow it off with the old March spam. Just going to be the rockets coming out for MP at the moment. Keeping Fear pushed back, and they're going to be able to keep that tier 1 on the bottom lane safe. And it looks like they will claim the top tier 1 without the side of EG being able to do anything to stop it. And indeed, the Dire, they'll be able to find that tier 1 top. Mid lane, Samael does get a tower in exchange, though. Finds himself the mid tower. DP's coming in from the Witch Doctor to join Jerax. And also Forev is there as well if they can find the slow. But no, Samael's got a haste rune. He's A-OK. Will be able to get himself out to safety.
The one thing that's kind of cool about this matchup for MVP is that most teams look at this and they say, all right, well, EG have ridiculous mid-game. We're probably not going to try to directly contest that. And the way that MVP Hot6 get around it is they say, all right, well, we got Tinker, we got Lesh, we know he can push very well once Edict is up. And thankfully for Forev, he's got a ton of farm. So all they really need to do between Tombstone and March is say, you can't fight us in this area. Between those two skills, they're amazing at being able to zone people out. And EG only have one ability that's good for spam. They have pretty much Power Shot, right? And that's it. So with just that, they're not really good at just forcing Hot6 back. They need to actually find a way to start the fight, which is why we saw that Surge and Song combination coming in from Aoi.
They certainly do. Sumail, he's coming up to that final bit of the hurdle towards the Aghanims. 16 minutes in, looking pretty good. 750 gold to go. Jerax just trying to scout out PPD here at the moment. PPD hiding in the tree line. Jerax doesn't quite go in deep enough to scout it out, but now PPD revealing himself. Trying to soak up the levels. There is track, of course, available for Jerax. Level 7 as well. He's going to go for it here with a bit of harassment onto PPD, and the TP's coming in from Tinker as well. Backups there. PPD in a lot of trouble. They'll be able to get the pick off, and that's the beauty of running the Bounty Hunter-Tinker combination.
And later on in the game, imagine having bots too.
It's going to be... you can't go out alone on EG.
He can just TP to the Bounty Hunter.
Fair here with the cooldown from the high ground. Will clip onto Forev.
Be here on our
Not really in a position, though, to go for any more. Sun coming in with the wraparound on the Undying. Has a double damage as well for this fight. So it might be a little bit hard for EG to try and take this one somehow. Keeping himself rusty and safe on the high ground. And the rest of the side of Hot6 are moving in. Jerax has found Universe here. It's going to be a question of whether Hot6 have the power to push. It certainly looks like they're going to try to do so. Tinker joining in the fray on the mid lane. And here we go. Worth noting, Tinker has got his blink as well. MP really accelerating the farm. And you look at it, he's on the same level as Samael. It is still forever the top. Rockets coming out left, right, center. Samael, he's out of there. Getting pretty low. Living Armor doing its best to slow down this push. But the rocket spam, and as you said, with the track, it's insane. Just the distance that EG have to kind of create between themselves to stop the range, because the range is huge when you've got the vision.
Yeah, Undying and Tinker are pretty much space controlling heroes. So you have a certain area in which engaging a hero becomes very dangerous when the Tombstone is dropped for Undying and when March is also thrown down for Tinker. If those things are both thrown down in conjunction, EG have to run away. Like, there's no way they can stand there and take the damage. It's too much. And the thing that's really nice about having the Tinker against Tree is that when you go in and you want to kill a tower, chip damage is pretty useless against Tree. We will see a song, though.
Oh, wow, he wants to set something off. If they can kill Forev, highest net worth at the moment, it's going to be very nice. Cooldown coming in as well. Let's try and go for it. Keen on the side, he's throwing out the paralyzing casket, but he backs up now. It's Forev coming in, turning this one around. EG, they're unable to find anyone. There's your Overgrowth and your Vacuum into wall, bringing Forev low, but they've already managed to kill Universe here. It's actually a fight going the way of Hot6. Fear incredibly low here. Look at the zombies go. The track as well, chasing down Fear and Aoi back to the base. Sumail's just running away as well. And even with the song setup, EG's just unable to take the fight and lose Universe.
I think that using Song to initiate might not be the best play. Like, obviously, hindsight is 20/20, but when you walk in and the Bounty Hunter gets a track after you've already used Song, they're all going to be able to chase you down. So they lost one hero, and unfortunately there was a tier 1 in the way, so like Hot6 couldn't chase that far.
Oh, the stun! Catching PPD, he moving in with the dust, and that's another track kill there for Hot6.
That was sick.
I've got to say, Hot6, they're playing very, very nicely against EG, and the Tinker pick so far, pretty much flawless. It's doing its job.
Yeah, I didn't really get to say everything about the matchup versus Tree, but in a nutshell.
Oh, Shackle Shot into Sun going in here with the... they bring him down. That's Undying dead, out of place and out of luck. That's the Undying down, and I've got to say...
please.
Yeah, you know,
there were like 4 trees in the way, but it prioritizes heroes, right? Like, that's just how the ability works, so it's just funny.
You know what I like? MP. He's going for that Aghanim's mid lane. Well, Forev, he's going for Sumail with the help of Ian as well. Sumail getting low. Sumail actually trying to find the kill onto Witch Doctor desperately. Will he be able to get it? No, he won't. Forev holding him in place with the Yaws, and bam! That's going to be Sumail going down. Doesn't find the kill onto Heen. And MP going to be going for that Aghanims because of the fact that the track works so beautifully with the Rockets.
Yeah, the sight is... it's incredible. Like, when you're playing Tinker, the range on the ability itself is massive, right? So it's 2,500 range. It's pretty much like level 1 or 2 snipe from Sniper. So that range, when you have vision of them 24/7, it just means you can zone them from so far away. Like, you don't ever really have to commit to a team fight, which is great because EG's team fight is actually pretty darn scary with their Wombo combo. So the other thing is when teams... oh, wait, okay, they're just doing stacks.
I mean, I say I'm guessing Aghanims because of the bounty, but I guess they could just be going for a Bloodstone Tinker.
Yeah, it could be Bloodstone.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about their lineup is that you actually want to be able to spam non-stop.
I want to see the Aghanims.
Aghanims is fun. Aghanims is fun, but Bloodstone is more
sensible.
likely.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Today might not be the day. I hope it is.
I think back when people used to play Tinker a lot.
Jerax might be in a bit of trouble. PPD moving in here with Fear now. Hey, straight onto the Bounty Hunter. Fear picking up that kill and now on a dominating streak, and indeed, thanks to the fact that PPD has got that gem on him for these movements. 87 at the moment for Hot6, though, still looking in fairly good stead. 10k on your... oh, Aoi just going to look for the song TP out here. Forev was looking for him. Of course, isn't going to find him, and Aoi's just able to escape from this one.
Yeah, Forev is crazy farmed right now. I'm wondering if Sumail is going to be able to have that impact that he's looking to at this stage.
Oh, it's the Staff of Wizardry coming out for Tinker. I think it is going to be the Axe.
Wait, is it actually Aghanims?
I think it is Aghanims.
I mean...
I hope so. No, now he's picking up the null, so maybe it's just going to be Dagon.
okay, he bought Point Booster Dagon. He trolled us, Owen.
He's trolling us. He's keeping us on the edge of our seats. MP, though, so far, his play absolutely impeccable. The farm game certainly real. Level 13, coming up to 10k, second on the board, over 1.5k ahead of Fear on his gyrocopter. MVP Hot6, they're certainly giving it some against EG, and it's very impressive so far.
I'm really a fan of their draft. Like, the way that they're playing it, too. If you look at it on paper, like, Tree is really great at defending when you can push the enemy team off your tower, because chip damage is pretty meh, right? But if you just say, okay, well, we're going to 5-man, and you can't fight us.
Towards the mid lane, Fear, he's the target. Jerax moving in, Forev closing in as well. If he can get the slow onto Fear, he's looking for it. Oh, PPD is there to back Fear up, though. Jerax is still going to try and chase this one down. TP coming in from Sumail to the tier 2. EG might look to try and turn this fight. They've also got Universe in the nearby neighborhood. Jerax. Oh, the shackle, the cooldown. The combo couldn't have been any more perfect. That's a 1 down. That's a 2 down. And that is EG's reaction there on top form. MP just gets himself the heck out.
Don't blame him.
It's going to be Ags. It's Ags.
Wait, he bought a no
He's bought an
talisman and then bought...
I think the no tally was early from the laning stage. He just moved it out of his
Oh,
stat.
he moved it, okay.
But now he's got an ogre. It's going to be the Aghanims, and I think, well, that's a dead Witch Doctor as well on a side note. Sumail just managed to find the kill there. But yeah, it's because of how well it's going to work with the bounty track.
Yeah, having multiple tracks up and just being able to spam rockets nonstop. The other thing, too, is the laser bounce is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's 550 cast bounce distance, I think. So yeah, pure damage, 320. Anybody standing even near each other, and they're going to get blown up.
It's going to be interesting indeed. And oh, that Shatinka going down.
Yep.
Sumail again with the shackles. Sumail trying to show this Tinker that this is not the patch for him. MP trying to do the best that he can to prove otherwise. That's going to be a Blink Dagger picked up by Sumail. At the same time, Sun is able to finish off the mechanism on the Undying.
Now, that was pretty sick play by Sumail. He pretty much just instinctively thought that he was going to be there.
His shackles have been on point this
Like,
game.
he didn't even have vision. He's just like, I think he's going to be up here. And sure enough, he was right. So, for the time being, Hot6, when the Tinker dies, it actually, like, totally thwarts their entire strategy. So, everything is based around being able to throw down March, be able to push, you know, get that track going with the rockets and just spam it out. But when that hero is dead, everything kind of just falls apart. Because then EG's lineup doesn't have anything to worry about. Like, okay, we don't have to worry about getting rockets spammed like 80 times in a row. And then Tinker coming back, which is full HP and mana again, and we just can't defend our towers.
Smoke coming out from the side of Hot6. Sun, he following up for Rev here. He has got, of course, his Bloodstone Yules. 7 charges at the moment on the Bloodstone. Moving towards the bottom lane, but again, EG pretty good here with their awareness. Back to behind the tier 2. It's going to be hard for them to find a pick-off. Depends where Fear moves after this camp. He's going to move very... Oh, no, and Sun, they're not going to go that way, so Fear's going to be okay. And the ping's just coming out in the bottom lane, hoping to find something, but that's not going to be the case, as EG are indeed elsewhere on the map at this moment of the time.
Now, EG are barely starting to pull ahead now in terms of the experience department. It's like 5k lead, which isn't... It's like maybe one team fight. But Hot6, they've been doing a great job at just non-stop pressuring. The one thing that's kind of mediocre about their team is their ability to take Roche. And that's what happens when you have Lesh mid and Tinker safe lane, right? Like, you're never really able to take Roshan at any stage in the game. And I feel like when you're Dire, maybe one of the biggest weaknesses of a lineup like this is that you have to pretty much sacrifice something to kill Roche. Because you're certainly not killing it fast. And even if you do go for it, you're not really going to be killing it efficiently, and you're going to take a lot of damage. So that might be the one downside to this particular style for Hot6. Whereas EG, they got Tree Armor and a Wind Ranger with Ags. That enough just kills Roshan. Like, you could just, if you find one good fight, EG can just go take it.
I mean, I guess on the plus side for Hot6, they can't take Roshan, but they've got a good lineup for defending Roche.
Yeah, they can definitely stop EG from doing it. It's just going to be one team has to win a fight, and EG don't need to win the fight as hard as Hot6 do. Like, Hot6 have to basically wipe EG, because if any heroes are in the area, you kind of have to back because of how slow you do it, right? So here comes MVP.
Tinker just 100 gold away from that Aghanim Scepter here. And here we go with a push onto the tier 2. Just tanking it up here with the March, making it impossible for EG to come and defend this one. It's going to be very hard for them to stop this aggression from MVP. He's tanking up the tower here with the Voodoo Restoration, more than enough to deal so. Forev just clearing out the tree line here to make sure EG can't go for any sneaky business. And there we go. Your Aghanim's picked up. I know Knoxville is the man with the stats. I don't know what the stats are on competitive Axe Tinker in this patch, but I'm sure he'll be able to let us know. But I've got to be honest, this has got to be one of the rare few.
I don't think it's been picked up before. Maybe like once or twice in some random matches, but I don't think it's been picked up before.
Well, at the same time, EG, they're looking to push down the mid lane. Sumail looking for the tier 2, but the pressure's being applied here by Hot6. They're ready to try and take this to the high ground here. Looking to move into the base of EG. Okay, there we go. Only second Aghanims bought on Tinker this year. I guess it's impressive. Maybe not too much in the sense we don't really see Tinker as a whole. And this is a nice song. Catching Hot6 out. Now, what can they do at the back of it? The wall gets popped down. The cooldown is going to be the Wombo combo. Ow, Hot6 getting blown up. That's 2 heroes down here at the moment. Varev's getting ensnared up as well. He's going to lose his life. Also, doesn't manage to get the suicide off, but 3 heroes dropping on the side of Hot6. And Evil Geniuses defend their base with a lot of flair and a lot of style.
You got to respect the Wombo combo, right? Especially when you're going high ground. You walk into a song, 3 heroes in vacuum range, that fight is like automatically lost. The one thing about their lineup for Hot6 currently is they lack BKBs. And I think after that, you might see Forev actually just go back and say, you know what, I'm going to make a BKB. Because it stops almost all that damage.
He's come out. And Forev and MP are here. Fear getting blown up. Did, of course, go for that damage-orientated build with the, the fairly early MKB. No BKB here on the Gyrocopter. And, yeah, you're going to get blown up in that track gold. Yeah, 1K straight up for the bounty just from that kill alone.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter Gold is a real thing in Dota 2, for sure. I'm wondering what the next item is actually going to be here for this Tinker. Like, after Ags, do you go for more mana? Do you go for the Hex? Do you go for the Shivas? Because when I see stuff like Aghanims, I typically think, like, Bloodstone Ags is kind of the way that you synergize it, and they're still pushing, man. Like, they do not want to give up.
They know that the Wombo combo's down for a good bit of time, so this is the time to go. Tombstone has been dropped. Hot6 ready to go in there. Just sitting on the sideline here with the rocket spam. MP doing what he can with the march as well to make sure that the creep wave gets pushed in. Fortification actually going to come out now from EG, trying to slow this one down. But still, they clear off the wave and they're ready to do some damage to the tier 3. Hot6 in their entirety ready to go. At the same time, we do see, of course, the Naga Illusions working their way up this top lane. And Ao at the moment, of course, has got those mana boots and the Glimmer Cape on Naga. And 1,800 gold to go as well on top of it. And yeah, they've sent back the Tinker to clear out the lanes, and it's not going to be much of an issue at all for the Tinker. Very good at defending against these kind of slow siege pushes.
Another benefit of Hot6 lineup is, like you mentioned, it's so hard to go high ground against them, so even if, for whatever reason, Hot6 managed to give up map control, the last hurdle for EG is, can we go high ground? The one thing that's good for EG, though, is that they have 2 ranged heroes, so one of which, Wind Ranger, you can just pop in, you can throw out that ultimate onto the tower. Once he gets BKB, he's going to be pretty darn safe. And bottom, I don't think Hot6 want to give up. I think they realize that this is their timing, and they
really
want to
end
end it.
They do. I mean, the ultimates are all back up for the side of EG, so they could look for a repeat of that last very nice engagement for the side. But Hot6, they've got no fear at the moment. They're going in. Tinker's coming in as well. The full 5-man ready to push.
The combo's up.
That's your song. They're going to try and go for round 2. This time, MVP Hot6 a little bit more spread out. Fear will drop the cooldown. Should connect onto Tubo forever. Sun getting caught out. Here we go. Sunmail with the BKB and the ultimate there onto Witch Doctor. The Shackle Shot will catch out forever. Now your Vacuum Wall catches out 2 here. Hot6 looking to disengage, though, backing themselves up. They do just lose Heen here on the Witch Doctor. Again, a lot of ults being thrown down. Could have been a lot worse here for the side. The tracks are out. So Tinker will be ready to get himself in with those rockets when he's regened up. But still, for Hot6, they do lose Witch Doctor. But as I said, everything pretty much being thrown out by EG. They do still have the Overgrowth. But not finding as much as they did, at least in that last defense.
Thankfully, cooldown's not that long of a cooldown, so it's going to be up in another 10 seconds. The tree armor is keeping the tower alive for the time being.
That
nice shackle!
What the heck? Onto Forev and Sun, bring them together, but it's all right. Sun gets the mech off. The rockets and the track just keeping EG forced back here.
They need to stop standing on top of each other. Like, if somebody is tracked, you need to move away from them, because otherwise you're just going to keep eating rockets in the face. The one thing about track is it gives you vision around the hero as well. So even if you're not tracked, you can't still stand next to them, because that just means you're giving more targets for the rocket to hit, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely indeed. But so 15 for 9 for EG. How's the graph looking? Has it reflected this much? It is EG with the lead still at this point in the game in terms of XP. So more so, 10k. Gold-wise, 5k. I think the difference there being the fact that the Bounty Hunters are able to kind of rein in that difference a little bit. Hot6, but it is EG with the lead. Hot6, we talked about the fact that Roshan was never going to be the quickest. They're going to go for it nonetheless and see if they can get away with it, and it looks like it might just work.
That should be enough to speed it up, but Jerax isn't in the area, and Sumail is over here with Ninjas.
Sumail?
Maybe he just doesn't expect it?
Is he going to... they've got the sentry. Sumail. They know he's there, and they're going to track him straight away here. They're going to try and go for it with the stun. They'll get it off as well. Sumail getting caught out. The magical burst is a lot, not quite enough. He gets the BKB off, will be able to get himself out. Now the question is, has that spooked MVP enough to stop them from going for Roche? Looks like it hasn't. Tinker goes straight back in here. They want to continue here with the Bounty Hunter. Solar Crest. Double damage is there as well. That's the dream. That's the dream. He's going to be able to go in there and help finish this one off, but they want to fight. All the ults are available. Aui's got the song going in. Here we go. Who are they going to be able to catch out? Hot6 have very nicely spread themselves apart, though. It's going to be hard for the Wombo combo to latch initially. Sun's got the Tombstone down. Will get taken down by Fear. They don't look to fight off the back of that one, EG. They just look to get rid of the Tombstone. Now Aui getting caught out by the stun, but they've got the pipe complete on Universe, buying them some kind of sustain. Heen goes down. They've actually found 2 kills now, EG. Looking very good for them so far in this fight. Still just Forev, Jerax, and Hot6 MP from the high ground, throwing out the rockets. Not doing quite enough to stop EG from going in, and EG are just going to get those 2 kills. Sumail just chilling here on the high ground. BKB still on cooldown for 20 seconds. There we go. Straight back into Roast. EG a lot faster at taking it than Hot6, and they should be able to finish this one off. It looks like Hot6 aren't too happy about it. Can they do anything to stop it? Thurev, he's going to find a lovely stun. And look at the damage from the March as well. Universe getting low. Will get himself out. They do get Roshan, and Aegis gets himself the Aegis. Wow, they've blown up Sumail now with the overgrowth, but PPD's going to fall as well. Aegis has been popped on Fear. Jarek's trying to chase down Owie, and now with the stun as well. They get Owie. That's a double kill here for Thurev on the Leshrac. Universe getting himself the heck out of there. So even though EG are able to get themselves the Aegis, it doesn't pay off. They lose the Aegis immediately, and they lose 3 heroes on top of it. And look at that track gold. A difference there of about 5,000 off the back of that for the side of Hot6, and a massive swing in terms of XP as well.
All I'm going to say is thank God Fear had MKB. Because if he did not have MKB, that laser hit everyone inside of the pit. The damage on Roshan would have completely halted. There might have even been a chance for them to steal that away.
Bottom lane, they found MP here. Fear and Universe want revenge. Moving in onto the man. Is there anything that MP can do to live through this one? Well, with Universe surged up and chasing it down, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a very dead Tinker. And Universe, the final couple of punches, there we go. Goes forward there with the blink and the final punch to take down Tinker. A bit of gold there going back the way of Universe. BKB now finished up by Fear, so going to help him out greatly in these next fights. And it's actually going to be Owie now picking up a gem for the team. We did, of course, see a PPD with one earlier. I imagine that must have been lost to the side of Hot6 at some point. Okay, now Sumail. Who's going to be holding
the Bounty
one?
Hunter
Yeah, the
has
Bounty's
Owie's
got
gem.
it. Okay, Bounty's got it. And Sumail's going to be holding the gem at the moment for the side of EG. Guardian Greaves now complete by Universe on the Darks here.
All right, so smoke here from EG. I'm not sure if this is just a warding smoke or nice
that's
shackle.
why you give Sumail the gem, because he's going to be able to find kills like that. Jarek's getting low, will go down, and that's going to be the gem that they can recover. So Owie's gem back in the hands of PPD. Both gems now in the hands of EG.
That's a really nice pickoff. I mean, this game is still very close, so getting stuff like that, getting the gem back, making sure the enemy team can't just de-ward for free. Now Hot6 are going to have to invest into another one if they want to keep that map control going for themselves, but still waiting for the BKB to come out on Forev. I think it's really important for him in this matchup to have it. In the meantime, Tinker, he finishes up that Bloodstone. He's got a very good mana pool now to be able to just spam those rockets non-stop. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go Shivas or Hex after this. I think the one concern that Hot6 have right now is the BKB duration on EG is still very high. So
Yes,
Fear has a
that's
10-second BKB, and Sumail's is at 8, which means that during those fights, the Tinker is going to have to find a way to make his team bait it out. Like, they need to run the BKB durations low.
And as we can see at the moment, 19 to 12 between the two teams. It's getting to the point where both teams have a fairly scary amount of fun. How's Sumail doing on top of that blink? Has he got a much amount of money? He's got 2k. Okay, towards his, would imagine, be kind of first real damage item.
It's probably just going to be MKB or Daedalus. Those are the two common go-tos, and since they have a Solar Crest, I think MKB might be better damage output.
Yeah, especially as well with the Aghanim's Tinker's Laser.
Yeah.
Anything to ensure that you can get those arrows on target. And Hot6 now with the smoke up, rotating around this bottom lane. Again, a little bit off the mark though. EG, all in the safest place you can be at the moment. The dire jungle, in fact. And over the kind of the west side of the map. So Hot6 won't find anything with this. They might be able to get this push back round, but really, this might not be the lane they want to push in. There's still tier 2s on the other two lanes they need to worry about. And if you look at the creeps in the mid, they're going right up to the base. And Sumail is there with PPD.
He's expecting somebody to farm it at some point, which he is going to be right. Can he land the Shackle, though?
It depends how Ballsy MP goes now.
Already.
Yeah, just chilling out here on the high ground with the marching machines. No possibility of EG catching that one out. And EG just kind of waiting to see what Hot6 do at this point. He's just getting up a bit of vision here on the Radiant side of the map. And Sumail now revealing himself in the mid lane, just keeping this creep wave pushed in. Top lane as well, looking very good for the side of EG. Owie, of course, actually opting for that Blink Dagger, and 900 gold on top of it as well for the Naga.
Now, when their combo is so important, having that Blink just assures you the initiation to say, once a song is out, we know the rest of the combo is going to be there, like 100%. And again, no BKBs in sight on anyone on Hot6. I mean, the Tinker could probably use one if they're going to push high ground. You're also going to need one on Lesh. Like, everyone kind of wants it, right? But you don't really want to invest the money if you're Forever right now because you want to just make sure you have enough items to continue your farm. So it's a little bit risky at this point for Hot6 to take a 5-man engagement. I think they're much better off just doing what they are now, which is continually push lanes, make sure that you're not going to put yourself in any precarious situations. Hopefully, they can try to contest the next Roshan, or at the very least stop EG from doing it.
Indeed, Tinker just working on the bottom. Sumail was hanging around in the jungle, but now backs off back towards the mid lane. Both teams kind of avoiding each other at this moment in time, which, as you said, may be favouring Hot6 a little bit more so with their lineup. But Fear, he's found a lot of farm now. On top of the MKB, BKB, he's got 3.4k gold. He is pretty much equal with Ferev's Leshrac farm. Certainly keeping himself at the top of the game, and we know how nasty a farm Jara can be. The win rate so far in the TI5 group stages have been pretty impressive. And Fear, of course, looking to continue that record. Sumail, he's going to look for the play here with the illusions, confusing Jerax. And off the back of that, will be able to get himself out of there and out of harm's way.
Yeah, just small stuff like that makes a big difference, like taking a couple of ancient creeps away, scouting out for the team, knowing exactly where Hot6 are now, trying to defend their tier 1 in that off lane, just lets EG have that feeling of, okay, we can go for our setup because we know they're actually all here.
Well, here we go, Fear onto the tier 1. Looking pretty low. Hot6, they're going to start the rocket spam. MP from the sidelines. It's forcing them back in again. EG, they take the tower. Do they want to try and go for more here? That's the question. Hot6 are ready with the defense, and it looks like EG know it. EG just going to back themselves out. So Leshrac now with the money. He brought himself the ultimate orb, and now 1,700 gold. What are we expecting to see from the Lesh then?
I'm guessing it's Hex. I mean, if he has Hex, he can, like... Well, I don't know. He doesn't have an initiation item. Is it actually going to be Hex? I don't know if Lincoln's is really that useful. It blocks pretty much Shackle, and that's it. And I guess homing missiles. So yeah, it's probably Hex. But I guess you could follow it up if you have like a Yules into a stun into a Hex, and for whatever reason, like if you catch out Sumail and he doesn't BKB, or Fear and he doesn't BKB, you can follow it up with some really high damage output and then just like blow somebody up.
19 to 12 at the moment, 39.5 minutes in. The pace of this game certainly seems to have kind of slowed down, and both teams looking for the farm. Fear's now managed to make himself up right to that top spot. And 4.1k did pick up the recipe, and now we'll be looking to get that Reaver as well. There we go. That's the completed Satanic now on Fear as well. So this Gyrocopter is sure well and ready to fight. And he's been doing very well so far this game. I think he has something like 7 kills, 1 death, and 4 assists at the moment on the Gyrocopter.
His farm has been insane, like throughout the entire series so far. Or, excuse me, the last series as well. But I'm kind of wondering if the Tinker's not just starting to fall off a bit, right? Like, we've talked about MP and how well he was playing. His position was really good. But because these heroes on EG are getting so much tankier, and he's not making anything like Hex or Dagon, he kind of lacks control. So during the mid-game, having, like, mass rockets and just being able to push EG back by virtue of how much damage you deal, that strategy is still very sound. But it's getting too late in the game. BKBs are starting to be bought. People are getting way too much health. The courier actually just gets sniped right there. And that's 2 javelins, so that's not going to be MKB coming out anytime soon for Sumail. Very nice kill.
Ooh, and they found Jerax here. He's going to look for the TP, but the vacuum there to cancel it. The shackle shot landing very weirdly there, but that's enough to find the kill. And Jerax punished for being out of place once more. And 20 to 12.
He killed a 3k net worth courier, though.
He did.
I think
so
that's
3
fine.
minutes off the map. Yeah, that's something indeed. But either way, don't see this game ending anytime soon here between these two sides. It's going to be hard for both of them to have a chance of breaking the base at this point.
Well, it's interesting because breaking the base for EG becomes easier over time and harder for Hot6 to break EG's base, right? So if we're talking sheerly in terms of, okay, who has the better high ground push, it's EG right now, by far. Just because Fear, like you mentioned, MKB, Satanic, BKB, drums, he hits very hard. Same thing could be said for Sumail. Even with his MKB being dead on the courier, all you really need is a focus fire, and the building is going to die. Whereas Hot6, they have kind of non-scaling damage dealers to towers. Like, sure, Forev is going to click a little bit harder because he actually has int items, but you're not building attack speed, you're not building base damage, and you certainly don't have an ability that just hits a tower repeatedly for a lot of damage, whereas Sumail has that focus fire for him. So I'm thinking for EG, it's going to get to a stage where Hot6, if they just lose like 1 fight outside of their base and they might not have a buyback on like a core hero, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, EG maybe looking to amp up the pressure here. They've got a few heroes down at the bottom. Let's see if they can go for something this time. Sumail leading the way towards the tower. MP trying to do what he can here with the rocket spam, forcing them back. It is certainly annoying enough, and obviously killing these illusions as well, working very nicely against Dowie. And again, just forcing EG back. They still seem a little bit unsure on whether to take this fight. And yeah, the call's going to be let's not do it. Sumail TP's out to the top, and Fear TP's back out towards the mid lane. And the fight is not going to be found here yet.
I think EG are okay to farm. They're not really getting ratted too hard, right? Like, they have 2 tier 2s alive still. Only 1 tower is exposed, and they have a treant protector. So, if you have a tree, and the enemy team can't just kill the tower straight up, they're probably never going to kill it. Like, that's just how it works. So now, Hot6 going for a little bit of a Roshan sneak here. This is a really nice move.
And they should be able to set this one relatively quickly now with the amount of farm they have got. As you said, Lesh with those in items. Bounty, of course, with the Solar Crest and the right-click physical punches. It's going to be A-OK, and EG not aware of it, nothing that they can do about it. Hot6 will be able to claim Roche and get that Aegis on them, which I imagine they will be giving here to Forev. He has got that slot free for it, and EG will. It will go the way of the Leshrac. That's going to be Roshan down in a straight-up smoke here out of the pit. Again, though, no one really on the side of EG anywhere near. The courier's back up for EG, so Sumail has managed to pick up his completed MKB. Tinker's still saving up the gold up to 3k. I mean, as you were saying earlier, it's hard to anticipate what an Aghanim Tinker builds into next. Obviously, it was the Bloodstone, but any ideas on what is it next item choice, maybe?
I'm wondering if he just goes Hex or Shivas or something. You just kind of want to buff your mana pool. When you build this way, you just want the most amount of int and regen possible. It's kind of like playing a Storm, because you're supposed to be a turret for your team. And Hot6 potentially going to be running right into EG.
They're going to find Sumail, or is Sumail going to find them? Hot6 look to be a bit scared. In fact, well, Sumail with that blink of the shackle shot. BKB as well, straight onto Heen. That's your Witch Doctor down. They're now dropping the cooldown, and they're going to look to continue this chasing down forever. Universe moving forward with a vacuum onto the door of the wall as well. It's massive. Jarrett's getting low. He's going to be able to keep himself alive. Sun, on the other hand, will be able to buy some time. It's not enough. Double kill for Fear. 3 heroes down at the moment. They did end up finishing off Jerax as well. It's just Forever and MP left. And that's the kind of fight that EG needs to be looking for. And certainly a fight that they very much come out on top of. Hot6 finding nothing in return.
Well, now MP is going to say, well, looks like it's time to play some split push. I don't know if TPing down here is really the best idea, though. Like, I think he needs to be at his base. They're going to realize very soon on EG that there are no buybacks. Because if you were going to buy back, you would buy back at about the time your tier 3s are getting hit, right?
Indeed, here we go. Sumail here. Chipping away at this mid-tier 3. Fear trying to do what he can to the top one. Forever there with his defense. Oh, MP getting dragged back by the vacuum. Nothing to shackle onto, though. He's going to be okay. Just getting the march out with the defense. But with that, they may just head up to the top lane and see what they can do. No, Sumail's back in there straight away. Will take down the tier 3 and now onto the racks. Forever there with the completed Hex, and now the bouncy paralyzing cast will bounce. It will bounce once. Dust has been thrown out. No one else around. And at the same time, Fear takes the tier 3 from the top. So now we're starting to see EG able to break the base of Hot6. 2 tier 3s down in the matter of a couple of minutes.
This is kind of what I was saying, is eventually EG are going to get to your base, and a Tinker is not going to be enough to defend on his own at 45 minutes in. The heroes just become too tanky. So, again, no Dagon, no Hex, no ability to really control the lanes. This build has a very precise timing. At around like 25, 30 minutes in, you want to have already used your items to get a racks, more or less. That's why Hot6 are putting so much emphasis on pushing that bottom lane. They're like, we need to end the game. This build is not meant to transition into later stages, which is another reason why I think we don't see Aghanims that much. Is because it's a very all-in maneuver. And it's not that the idea was bad, it's just that they couldn't hit the timing they wanted to.
And talking about the Aghanims, we are going to see Aoi get that Aghanim Scepter here on the Naga Siren.
Oh, God.
We did see it, I believe it was in the secret game earlier, wasn't it?
Yes.
That it was picked up, and
bought it, yeah.
They did win the game off the back. Well, not necessarily off the back of it, but it did play a huge part in some of the final fights.
It healed Arteezy basically back to full HP.
It's a crazy amount of heal. And, you know, adding the fact that you've got the Darks here, of course, with the mech, with the Greaves now, of course, and PPD with a heal as well. The amount of sustain is going to be pretty incredible for EG. And you could argue now at the point with the Aghanim Scepter on the Naga, they're ready to just go for the push and stick around on the side of the map of Hot6. Sumail, he's going to find Heen, and oh! That step Witch Doctor blinks forward, gets the shackle onto Sun. Forever is there with the backup. Sumail pots the BKB, will actually now back up. Aoi's there as well, and actually MP going on to Aoi. Aoi will get the song off. Now, do they want to stick around and fight? They've got Universe here. He has got the vacuum and the wall. Will he be able to get them onto both? He should be able to. Yes, he does. Brings them into the cooldown as well. Sun getting low. Will be able to buy himself some time here, but it's not going to be enough. Sun falls. They're going to lose Forever as well. That's going to be the third one down. He has got the Aegis. MP trying to do what he can here with the rocket spam. But now, Sumail coming in with a focus fire. Aoi's there as well. The Shackle will latch yet again. Sumail on a mega kill streak. Forever and JRX just getting themselves the hell back to the base as Universe chases them down. Drax getting thrown out, trying to get the extra movement speed. JRX hanging around, actually. Quite ballsily. And Lotus Orb, notably, has been finished on Darkseer here as well. But 26-12, 3 more pickups here for the side of EG. They get rid of the Aegis as well. And Hot6 suddenly beginning to look on a back foot. Looking for Sumail here, though, with a Hex as well. Sumail needs a bit of help. He's like, guys, get yourselves in here. Lotus Orb's going to get dropped on him, and here's PPD with a backup call. He's not going to live, though. Sumail will go down. PPD Universe looking for Ferev. Fear gets thrown up here by the Euroscepter, and he will find the stun as well, but Fear's so damn tanky. I don't think they're killing the Gyro here at this point. Moving in on Ferev. Universe out. We're trying to do what they can. Fear forcing back Jerax and Heem from the fight. Ferev doing a lot here. Universe actually thinking about surging away. Decides he does not want to be here. Fear going in. Pulls deep. Takes down Heem, and now he's going to look for more. Moving in onto Sun. Well, the Ghost Scepter's not going to help. He gets that Rocket Barrage magical damage, and now he's trying to get himself out. MP now with the laser. Doesn't matter. I've got an MKB. Fear says. Ferev turning up the fight with Hot6. Fear just sticking himself around, looking for Ferev. Now Ferev holding him up in the air. He's going to have the stun as well. We'll be able to find timing. No, BKB comes out from Fear. Takes one down. Ferev gets himself 4 stuff back. Soul Rip as well. The Lesh is going to live. Fear still alive though. The Zoom Zone has to be dropped down and the zombies, they're on it. Track as well onto Fear. Fear going back in here with the flat cannon. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's PPD with the overgrowth. MP, he's going to fall as well. 3 heroes down on the side of Hot6 at the moment. And now Ferev moving forward, trying to do what he can. MP will buy back. Fear getting called out by the stun. Ferev going for it. The Lotus Orb now. Fear now the Hex as well. Fear's down. He's got to be careful because they're bringing him low. MP looking for it. Will find it. They'll bring down Fear. Play down now for 90 seconds. Ferev chasing Universe out of the base now with the Euroscepter holding him up the other track as well. Blows him up with a stun. Will they be able to find the kill? Yes, they will indeed. Universe low will go down. That's going to be 4 heroes down from the side of EG. PPD will be able to get himself out there. 5-10 go to the man at the back of the auction. 29-16. Hot6 defend the base.
Sold to the man in the monocle. All right, I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. So that whole fight was pretty ridiculous, right? Like, how did Ferev actually live that entire thing? He gets his Aegis taken. There's like 3 or 4 members of EG all chasing him around. Unfortunately, it was all the heroes who deal no damage. So the only person who was able to do anything to him after Sumail died is pretty much Fear. And Fear was stuck between the base and the rest of the enemy team, right? So there's nothing really that they had to deal with him. So he just lives the entire time, makes them pop all of their abilities on him in pretty much a useless manner. And even though they had to use a couple of buybacks, they maintain their top set of racks. I mean, up until this point, they've only lost range racks, so it's not so bad.
Absolutely, but 3 heroes down at the moment for EG. Hot6 going to try and use this opening to go for the bit of the base of EG themselves. Moving down towards this tier 3. Here we go. Fortification coming out from the side of EG. Living Arm as well, buying it up. There's still 2 down on EG. They do have buyback available, but 19 seconds. They're going to want to hold on to it here. Not going to do anything for the time being. And Hot6, MP, just getting himself back. Still proving just a little bit too hard for Hot6 to push into the base.
Now, we talked about their very hard time they're going to have pushing into EG's high ground. And every time they don't actually just kill the tower, it's going to get healed up. And now they're going to need that Tinker to get Hex. That's the next big step here for Hot6. We talked about kind of the lull in power that MP is going to have because of his particular item build, but...
Ferev! Oh. Well, that's a Lotus Orb and a half coming out just in time from Universe. Will surge away himself now as well. The Shiva's got... Oh! Just
Nicely
able to
done.
blink himself away from...
They have Song.
They're going to go for it. Owie. Looking for the setup here. He's got the full back up here behind him. They don't want to go for it. No, too many March of the Machines. Going to put them off. Looking for this fight. EG back themselves off. And Hot6 still proving to be kind of hard to fight into. EG obviously did find that very favorable initiation there on the top to start with. But Hot6 turning it around over time. And still, this game could certainly go either way. Smoke up from the side of Hot6. Looking for a bit of aggression themselves. EG at the moment all on the high ground in the base. There's still a tier 2 in the mid lane, so it's going to be hard for Hot6 to catch anyone out. Oh, maybe not. EG going to smoke up themselves here. It's going to be a question of who walks into who. EG walking past the Ancients. They're going to find them. They've got the high ground advantage, and here we go straight away. Oh, the vacuum! The cooldown! The wall onto 3. 2 heroes down at the moment. Ferev trying to get himself out of here. Jerax trying to get out there trapped, but no, PPD is on his case, and PPD with that gem going to chase down Jerax. So Owie blinking forward as well. The whole gang, the shackle shot. They'll take down Jerax. 3 heroes dropping on the side of Hot6. Double kill for Universe off the back of that. And again, the power of the wombo combo, just too much for Hot6. And now we're at a point of the game, 52 minutes in. EG are doubling the kills of Hot6, and they're ready to go for more. They're pinging on the base. They're ready to try and break high ground. There's a buyback available for Jerax, but that is it. No buyback on the Undying, none on the Witch Doctor. Ferev moving forward here with the Shiva's Guard, getting out the Lightning Storm span. And Fear This damned man is so damn tanky. We saw him get taken down the last fight. He's now got the Skadi as well. Sumail, he goes for the objectives here, trying to go for the Rex. Forever looking for the stun, holding onto it. Talking about the stun, homing missile straight into the face of the horse here. You'll set onto Wind Ranger. Will be able to follow with the stun. PPT now he goes straight in onto it. There's your buyback from Jerax. Realizes that Forever needs a bit of a hand. Lotus Orb on Sumail with the BKB as well, trying to turn it one around. But now he's actually on the retreat with the tracks coming out. The missiles as well, flying out with the rockets. EG being forced back yet again. Drax is moving forward here with the track, and Forever going forward here with the force stab. Actually using up an illusion, unfortunately. Now EG want to turn. Cooldown's going to throw down, and with the vacuum, bringing Sun and Jerax back into it with the Hovergrove as well, holding them in place. That's them both down, and that is Jerax down with a dieback. Now the Song, they're going to look for more. They need to kill Forever. Forever has been a huge issue for EG in these fights so far. If they can kill the Leshrac, this is going to be absolutely massive. Leshrac does have buyback available though. The Ensnare will hold him in place, and it just proves a little bit too difficult. Even with the Song, they can't seem to catch him. Now with the homing missile though, Fear, has he got enough damage to do so? No! Forever just turns around. They're going to be able to side him up, but the Lotus Orb removing the Hex. Fear continues the fight. Will take down Forever. Now he's looking for MP with Sumail there as well. With the focus fire, it's a triple kill for Sumail. GG, well played is called. 53 minutes in, EG take game 1 against Hot6, but what a fight Hot6 gave them for the entirety of it. Tinker Aghanims didn't do the job this time, but it's always exciting to see a team do something different, and I hope we see more action in game 2, Andy.
Not just a different pick, but a different way of playing the hero in general. It's always refreshing to see people try to just innovate. I mean, look at how EG brought Tree back in the last 2 series when they played against Vici and now playing against Hot6. That is their new answer for this bounty hunter kind of roaming strategy. But he had maybe a different build. Not saying that the Aghanims was why they lost, but either that or just hit the timing. Make sure you take that high ground. Make sure you get that Rax before EG are able to push you back. The tree ended up being their salvation because normally a lineup would have eventually gotten their base whittled down, right? Like they go high ground 3 or 4 times in a row. You just can't deal with it. But very good for EG. Their BKB timings were there. And just the sheer physical damage between Sumail and Fear was, in the end, too much along with those wombo combos.
What a performance. What a game. And, well, we'll see what happens in Game 2 between EG and Hot6, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be the final game at the final series of the day here on the main stream with myself, ODPixel and Traskell. But for the time being, back to those in the studio to hear what they've got to say about that pretty spectacular game of Dota 2.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yeah, spectacular game indeed. And, of course, I mean, you guys primed it pretty well going on Darkseer for Universe. Gonna be pretty epic. He's already been famous for it, and man, I mean, it's not just the concept of the combo, but the fact that they hit it nearly every time, and every time they do it, hit it, it's just like, all right, fight's over. Hot6 has to run away. What an incredible game.
Yeah, I actually think Hot6 were in a position in this game where they should have at least got 1 lane of Rax. That's what it felt like to me. That when they started pushing the bottom, they had the Aegis on Lesh. Of course, when you're playing against Treant, it's a little bit of a special case where you have to be able to take the lane down without too much delay, so it just heals the tower up again. But in a way, maybe they played it a little bit too cautiously. I'm also with Andy. I don't know, like, obviously the idea of running the Ags Tinker with track makes a lot of sense, but EG just bought a pipe, which is like the perfect counter itemization with the 10% passive aura as well as, of course, the active 400 damage block. They were able to mitigate like 2 or 3 barrages of heat-seeking missiles, and then all of a sudden it's not so attractive of a build anymore. Whereas, let's say he instead goes for the very standard like Dagon 5, where they just track targets. He could just like blow someone up instead of spreading all the damage, just focusing it instead. Because they had so much spread damage anyway. They had a Lesh, right? So different itemization. I think it was really cool to see it attempted, but not the best build in my opinion.
Right, not the best execution perhaps, and of course not necessarily the best build in that situation. Let's continue talking as we take a look at the highlight, because early game, Hot6 definitely looked, of course, a lot better than late game. They looked like they were going to be able to continue taking a lead. And so, Winter, what did you think about Hot6's play in this game? I mean, were you particularly impressed, or just, all right, well, you know, their aggression definitely paying off early, but not able to last out?
I think they had a very good idea with the Ag Scepter plus the track, but like what Mr. Nielsen said, that that they had too much spread damage and they didn't have enough focus fire on one target, and the Naga as well. She built an Ag Scepter which sort of negates a lot of the damage done for her team since it heals them percentage based. So
I
they
actually
weren't.
disagree with Ags not being a great build here, though, just because if they do get Dag on 5, they have Lotus Orbs, they have Glimmer Cape, and they have Living Armor. I think it's really difficult to burst a single target down, and it's just by virtue of EG's lineup that it's just difficult to kill anyone in any sort of fashion. And they needed maybe a little bit more farm in the Leshrac and the Tinker, but I mean, it's just really difficult. Like, they have BKBs, they have Satanic, like, they have Leech Seed even, like, all these are really good at making a fight really long. And then at the end of the day, they have Nagasar, and I think you said they had Ags too, so they can always reset if they're in any danger. And it really dissuaded them from sieging high ground. And Tinker's strength is not actually, being able to take a Rex. And I don't know, it just seemed like 2 of their heroes just always died to the vacuum wall combo with or without the sleep, and that was a really big issue for them.
Yeah, they needed one more hero to stand in front and fight, whereas because Undying kept dying in a lot of the engagements, he wasn't really strong enough, and he can't really stand in front to tank what EG had, so it was only the Lash and the Tinker doing like a lot of spirit damage and Lash doing a lot of like spirit damage as well, so they couldn't really kill any heroes in the team fight.
Yeah, makes sense. And like you mentioned, I mean, every time we saw that combo go off, we'd react, we'd be like, oh man, and then suddenly just 2 great heroes on the side of Hot6, they're done, and then we see the cores running away. We do have another highlight, of course, as you guys have been mentioning. So Hot6 weren't able to close out the game, and you said maybe they should have been able to take at least 1 set of racks, eventually not, and that's when things start to turn, right? And we see EG saying, all right, well, from here on out, what are you going to do? We've got that pipe, which, interesting, because we've talked about it a little bit before. We've heard the commentators talk about it on why are people not using pipe? All right, maybe it's because of some of these other items like the Glimmer Cape, but pipe still, of course, against certain compositions should be pretty good. Here we have a very clear case of that. Let's jump to the highlight as we continue talking about it. Of course, EG holding in this case.
Yeah. The moment, this is like one of the most scary moments ever you can encounter in Dota, is you just stand 3 together, the song comes, and you're just like, oh boy. And you're just like waiting to get roasted, and they do. So
yeah, I mean, at that point, it was so perfectly set up.
Yeah. And this is where, so this is one of the moments where I feel like this is where MVP could potentially take Rex, but they can't stand in that position. Like, they kind of served the fight to EG on a platter, where if they just put, say, they put Leshrac alone in front with Edict and he starts damaging the tower, who's going to kill him? The only engage they have is Shackle Shot, which is very unlikely. It's actually impossible to land if he's standing in the right position. There's no trees, and I believe they had a 4-staff on Jerax, or someone else at least had a 4-staff at least later in the game, so he can just turn around and they can save him. And even should he die, I don't think it was this fight, but the next one, he has Aegis. How much do they need to commit for it? How well does that set the Tinker up? They were just a little bit out of position, but I still think MVP Hot6 showed some pretty good plays in this game overall after.
Yeah, I completely agree with their way of sieging high ground. You can't make that mistake of having 3 heroes get caught out by the song. And not only are they caught out by song, but they're right next to each other. They didn't even really need the song to set it up. And, you mentioned like Secret has the formula of having one really beefy hero up in front with a Solar Crest and a Glimmer Cape available. And I think if they had approached with that route, it would have been a much more difficult hold, and you're forced to burn a lot of cooldowns just to force the Leshrac away from your base instead of using a lot of cooldowns to get 3 heroes killed.
And they actually did have those items. They had the Solar Crest on Bounty, at least. I don't know. Did they have a Glimmer? I think the Witch Doctor might have had a Glimmer. I'm not 100%.
Maybe, yeah.
Still, I do think they really did have the tools they needed. And if they go back and revise that replay, moments like that is going to be like, this is where we lost the game.
Now, Winter, I mean, do you think that's partly just the inexperience of Hot6 coming through, or also, I mean, were they maybe just flustered because how many times they got caught out by them? By that time, it just wasn't even on their brain. Their brains were just a little fried, because after you get caught by it the 3rd time, it's got to feel pretty bad.
Yeah, sometimes you just forget, like, inexperience comes into play. You keep losing a team fight, but you're not focused why you actually lost. You're just like, oh, maybe we just took a bad fight. You don't really, analyze what, during the heat of the moment, what actually happened. And it takes like someone, usually in a team where the more experienced player, okay guys, we have to stop doing this.
Right.
Like, if everyone else is just inexperienced, like everyone will, okay, it's okay, we can take the next fight better, and no one actually identifies what is actually the problem. And positioning was key against a Naga Siren Ultimate.
Yeah, and well, it did look like, of course, both teams, as we were taking a look at them in between the 2 games, definitely reviewing a little bit. Even EG, after the victory, they seemed to spend time looking back at game 1 and saying, all right, where else can we improve? We saw that in their earlier matches, too. They're never just like celebrating just because they won the first game. We're like, yeah, that's right, we knew we were going to win. They're always looking back, all right, what else do we want to do? What new things can we do? They like to change things up a little bit game to game, so that's always nice to see. Hot6 also seems to be pretty concentrating on, all right, how do we fix this from game 1? And this last game of the day is pretty important for Hot6. They are at the bottom of Group B. I mean, sure, getting 2-0 against Ichi was a pretty big dream, but if they got that 1 point, and of course with just 3 matches done, having 2 ties and 1 loss, not a bad place to be for a team like MVP Hot6. So I think they definitely want to put a lot more on the line here, because if they can take down a game against a formidable foe like Ichi, not a bad time after what we're halfway through the week. But look at this, we're already into draft of game number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the last game of the day here on the mainstream. It is game 2 between MVP Hot6 and Evil Geniuses. Ichi looking to close things out yet in another 2-0 match in day 2, and MVP Hot6 looking to get 1 more point on the board.
So for EG's draft last game, I feel like it was a very generic draft. It's like we have our team fight wombo combo that they can also fall against. If they get BKBs, we have massive physical damage as well as root. So I feel like it was super well-rounded. On top of that, they were second pick, so they didn't really know their full lineup before. And now that they've actually played versus them in their very first game, matching up head-to-head, as well as just knowing what their supports like to do, how they play around their cores, I think that he can have a more Hot6 tailored draft as opposed to a generic draft.
Yeah, we'll see if that change comes through. You guys haven't mentioned, we've seen it already in the day where they will be able to adapt game to game. And of course at previous lands too, that's part of their success here, part of their recipe for success rather.
I feel like Naga should probably be Naga or Darkseer. I mean, we've seen the universe do that without a Naga setup, and that's the scary part. Like, you might be winning the lanes, you might gank early, but I mean, we saw a 22,000 gold swing yesterday in 1 team fight on the back of an Earthshaker. I think something like that is very, very possible with just a Darkseer alone. And if you are an inexperienced team and you can't trust yourself to not clump in those sort of clutch situations, so sometimes you just eliminate the risk altogether by banning it out.
All right, now if you were to ban out, let's say the Darkseer, just because, as you mentioned, Universe alone is so good on that hero, I mean, is Naga still... I assume it's frozen here, so we'll probably be taking a little break here and then coming back to it.
It looks weird.
But for the Naga, does that still require a ban? I mean, overall, because then still, we talked about this earlier, right? Naga Song can just lead to set up a various amounts of different combos for any team composition. Do you think Hot6 also wants to avoid that? Or do you just chance it and leave it open and see, maybe we get it, you know, maybe EG, even if they get it, we can think of a different way to counteract the song.
I think they'll ban Naga in the first phase. They seem inexperienced at playing against it.
Because from C, right, everyone that plays Naga plays it as a core. Like the way from the teams in C play is much different from the way EG plays it. So MVP Hot6 definitely has very little amount of experience with dealing with a support Naga that specializes in just building utility items, taking fights, and doing stuff like positioning. You know, so they are definitely not used to dealing with Naga that plays like this.
Okay, so, but now that's 2 bans we're talking about, potentially. So if they have to use those 2 bans, obviously we open up a lot of different things. Sure, game 1, there were also a lot of other options open thanks to kind of the niche bans from both teams, but Hot6, then where else do their priorities lie? If those 2 are definitely in their minds, at least in the second phase of bans. What are you willing to give up to EG, right? Because any hero that's high priority and you give up, that's going to be scary.
Tusk maybe?
Tusk?
Yeah, they could try to give away Tusk. This time, let's see. So EG has first pick, right?
Right, and they are.
I really don't think they want to give away Lesh, but they might just try it. I don't know why they would try it.
But they might.
Let's not give away Lesh. So they don't give Lesh to EG, they don't give Naga. So those are their 2 bans. Let's assume EG ban neither.
Okay.
Then we're down to Quap, Bounty Hunter, Tusk. How am I counting with my fingers? Quap, Bounty Hunter, Tusk, and
Shadow Fiend, they'll be on Radiant.
But there's one more.
Well, yeah.
I'm missing one. Because there's like always 6, of which neither is Shadow. Or
we,
no,
we
8,
counted
sorry.
Bounty Hunter this time.
Or 8.
So Quap Bounty... We always miss one, for sure.
Whatever. I think... they definitely ban Lesh. And then, I would say Tusk, but I don't know if EG want to overall first pick that. I think they might just take away the bounty, actually, from them.
If that
as their
gets
overall
left
first.
open.
It could be a possibility.
All right, well, as you mentioned, we're about to find out. Lesh does get banned out from EG. It's going to be the Lina and Shaker ban coming out again. So not a big swap out there for EG just yet. Now, Hot6.
So I'm guessing, so the reason the draft froze, the reason I got confused, I guess someone just, there was like a disconnect and they paused it during the draft.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
It's just weird when the drums were playing.
I know, yeah,
like,
I got
okay,
confused
so
for a
so
little
there's
bit too. I was
dynamic
like,
sound, but no moving image. I was like, Wait.
Like,
This is
he's
weird.
taking a particularly long time.
But we're all good. Okay, so Hot6 will actually ban out the Bounty Hunter here. So EG have access to Tusk, I think they'll get Queen of Pain first pick for Sumail. No? They take the
going
Naga.
for the Naga. Okay. I mean, maybe they were identifying that same point then. All right, it seems like Hot6 doesn't really know how to deal with the song. We'll just keep it. We can deal with whatever other high party they get, such as Quap. Now for Hot6 then, I mean, let alone, sure, you've got to be good with the heroes too, but do you take both the Quap and the Tusk here?
I think you can actually consider going for more team fight yourself. Like BKB with team fights are good against Naga initiations. Like Shadowfiend, BKB, he initiates with a song, you BKB and Requiem. Something along the lines of.
I mean, I feel like they can always draft like Omni Knight or Treant Protector. I feel like EG never really has huge holes in that sort of lineup when they draft Naga Siren. They always have anti-BKB, so they don't just get owned by mass BKB. On top of that, they have Wind Ranger. Wind Ranger is one of the best heroes at just straight killing BKB targets after that. So
I was about to say Jar.
Oh yeah, Gyro is one of the ones we were forgetting. But do continue.
Yeah, I do agree that BKB is generally the solution, but it always depends on what they have with the Naga Siren too. And I mean, Gyrocopter is huge too, and you know they could also just turn to like Disruptor with an Acceptor, for example, if they really wanted
depends
to.
on the whole lineup in general.
Yeah.
I think a better way to deal with it, as we've seen from other teams, is just to not have too many melee heroes or that need to be right up in front. And I think the Tinker was really good for that, but the Undying in particular was just like you want to be in front to like get decays off and like soak up a little bit of damage for your team, but he was just never out of the AoE. So again, more of a position thing than.
Okay. And the Dazzle being picked up right away before we go into the second phase of bans. So a little bit of a different priority here from Hot6.
Shadowfiend is really not getting much love.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, overall. so
very,
far.
very downgraded from what we saw 2 months ago. Without getting nerfed. Same version.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, we've mentioned the reasons why one might not pick it, but do you think those reasons such as, all right, well, then you know you're going to have a lot of focus on your mid laner or something like that for the opponents, is that really big enough to pass on a hero like that?
I mean, Shadowfiend doesn't have any catch. He doesn't have any mobility either. And like the way that EG likes to play is that they like to have mobility and chase. So, you know, Sumail can get out of control. You can get out of control with Shadowfiend, but I think the Yule's Blink build has kind of gone to the wayside, and like the mech BKB just doesn't necessarily suit his style. It's not like an explosive build which he likes to go for. He likes to go for, you know, sort of those as opposed to super teamfight centric. That's where Owie's farm typically kicks in.
Okay. Well, they are going to go with the Quap this time around for EG. And now going to the second ban. Now, I like that you brought this up earlier. Treant Protector, are we going to see that go through again for EG? Because Hot6 last time, they just kind of glanced over it. And sure, I mean, sure, they caught Treant a couple of times, but it wasn't enough, obviously, to really make a difference in the late game.
They have Gyro.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't even a big problem the last game. The bigger problem was the combos by the song and the vacuum. So I wouldn't say that the Treant was a big problem the last game. I think the biggest thing that he did was he was nullifying the chip damage that you are doing with Edict onto the towers. Like you can't kill the towers in one go, he just like regenerates the tower. That was what I felt his biggest contribution towards the game.
Alright. And Shadowfiend does get banned out by EG. They don't want to take that chance, even after taking that Quap.
They might still... So I was saying they have Gyro, which is, of course... You know, a big part of Treant in a lot of lineups is being able to secure your offlaner has a good time, but Gyrocopter can just shred through the living armor pretty much instantly with Rocket Barrage. So it's not that attractive in that sense, but once again, EG, they do have the Naga Siren. They might be able to set up for a nice overgrowth with Song of the Siren, and then they also have Sonic Wave over the top, of course, and might even get their Darkseer somewhere down the line if they want to run a very similar lineup if they can get that draft. But
you know, of course,
I do feel like Hot6 will take this draft in a different direction and maybe even get a secondary Treant counter, and then it's not going to be valuable enough for EG. We'll see.
Clinkspan comes out from Hot6. I mean, yes, we did see EG using Clinks, but mostly as a counter for Lesh.
Again, the team on the Radiant is banning Clinks when against an opponent on Dire.
Yeah.
Maybe teams are just really worried about the tempo controlling Clinks with the Roshan. Like you get a kill, you control the jungle, you get Roshan. Like.
And Dire safe lane
Yeah.
is much stronger than Radiant safe lane, for cleans especially.
Okay. Well, at this point, Darkseer doesn't go through, and if it goes through, get up, or do they try something else? I mean, there's multiple reasons here, right? I mean, for EG, of course, for one, they do have other options, and they're good with their other options too, so they might want to just try to switch things up a little bit. But at the same time, like we mentioned earlier, if you're that good with a hero, why not pick it if it's left open for you?
I think it's really good against support which doesn't have a disable as well. Like Dazzle in the lane can't really pose a huge threat towards Darkseer. He can't really like disable you, and you're always able to just search away from the gyrocopter when he comes in. So I think Darkseer in that sense is really good. as
Yeah, well, this is not an option we considered as we were just talking about it. The Darkseer being banned out by EG.
Universe walked over to PPD's computer. He was like,
It could also be
No,
set up,
not
set up
playing
for
it again.
Brood though.
yeah,
Set up
that is
for-
a very good point.
Yeah,
That's true.
That is very.
that was
very
what
possible.
happened for Secret yesterday.
Yeah, so,
The Darkseer and the X-Men.
yeah. We'll see. Hot6.
But let's not forget MVP Hot6 actually have the next pick. So they could do it too, if they wanted. They could ban another Brood counter and actually snatch it if that's what they're expecting from EG.
Yeah, Dazzle Brood is pretty
It's
pretty
extreme.
difficult.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but they're just going to go ahead and ban it.
They made the same read though.
Right,
And
yeah.
they didn't.
So adjusting from it, and then yeah, the Tusk does slip all the way through to the second phase, and Hot6 will be able to secure that for themselves. So EG, now the Darkseer is gone, but of course again we've talked just about countless other combos you could do with Naga if you really wanted to focus on that aspect of your composition. What do you guys see here for EG after all these bans? I mean, if they were thinking, all right, if the Brood gets open, let's pick it. Now it's not. I mean, I'm sure they must have expected that as a possibility.
I think Clockwork is decent. It's worse because of Dazzle, I guess. But it's a good way for them to set up the fight, and then if it turns out it's a disaster, they can always fall back on Song of the Siren. So, if nothing else, they can use it as a tool for forcing out defensive cooldowns.
Okay.
They reset, and then they kill. So they take it's like a three-step fight with
Right.
cooldowns into Song into kill. It's a possibility. They could take that route. It is worth noting, of course, that MVP have double defensive cooldowns. They have both the Snowball and the Grave. So maybe
Yeah.
if they play it really smart, but then it becomes like really, really difficult to pull off all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
and then it's just like mind games on both sides. So
Yeah.
possibilities, of course, going back and forth. But as you mentioned, Clock does get picked up by EG. Now back on the Hot6 side. You guys were mentioning earlier maybe Hot6 focuses more on their Team5 presence. So far, what do you think, Winter? What more do they want to secure here for their composition?
Team fight for their mid player. I'm thinking about heroes that he generally plays that contributes a lot towards team fight. He plays more of a caster type of play, casting like spellcaster type of mid heroes. I haven't seen him play Puck too much. Puck could work really well if they are looking to go for team fights in combination with the gyro. It's a good setup for the cooldown, but I'm not sure whether they want to go in that direction, since if you go Puck plus gyro, you're lacking. Your cores are lacking in terms of damage when you go later on towards the game. You're relying everything on gyro.
Ben, what about you? You have any thoughts
Could be
about Hot6?
Storm, I think. Storm has a worse matchup versus Queen of Pain, but it does scale a lot better. Also, they don't really have too many solutions to deal with. The Storm, and he can also escape from a Song of the Siren initiation. Yeah, but in terms of what MP actually plays, not too sure what's the best pick here for them.
Okay, well, that option's still being left open for Hot6 with the Undying coming in play again.
No, wait a second. So what did Forev play last game? He played the Tinker, right?
No,
Lush.
the Tinker
No,
was
he
MP.
played the
Lush.
last. That's
Yeah.
right. It was the other way around. No, yeah. I've got it mixed up somehow in my mind with
MP's
who's
yeah,
mid and
yeah.
who's safe laner for them.
MP is the mid player, for F
Yeah.
is the safe
Right,
laner.
yeah.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
little bit of a mix-up there.
So yeah. Yeah, for Hot6, I guess. So now they've picked on Dying. They're really, I don't want to say all in, but they're definitely focused on their lineup strength in the first 20 minutes with like both the laning, the team fighting, the objective-based gaming. So I'm not sure if Storm is the right finishing pick for them here.
I like TA more. though.
TA would be really, really nice, I think.
Yeah.
Can actually hold her own against Queen of Pain, even like it often becomes about like who has the sentry in the lane, because Quap will get a sentry against TA, so if TA has one as well, you just counter the other sentry, and then
Right.
it's obviously about meld dodging Shadow Strike. That's how you sustain yourself in that lane. They could grab something like that.
They lack that initiating. As long as someone that has to initiate the fights for them.
Viper could actually be
Perhaps.
nice too.
Okay.
Viper against
Oh.
Quap, it's a tank. They have lots of sustain for it. Viper or Razor for me, but Razor does not match up that well against Quap in lane, so I would say Viper is the best overall.
Okay, well, again, another maybe slightly unexpected ban coming out from Hot6. Now, if they do round it out and they do go for kind of, again, they focus on the early 20 minutes, how is their lineup looking this time around to secure the game, you know, if they start with the advantage, right? Can they close it out easily? How are they going to deal with that high ground siege that has been such a problem for so many teams in TI5? Do you guys have any thoughts? Or it's just like, oh, good point. Like, maybe not.
I mean, it heavily relies on Undying getting a mech early. So if Undying doesn't get a good start and he doesn't have the help of Track Gold this time, I mean, pushing high ground is going to be, you know, way later in the game when Gyro gets super buff.
Okay.
Just because they have a lot of safeguards to defend against the high ground. Like even something as simple as like Freezing Field can destroy a high ground push like that when they have very limited disables, pretty much only on the Tusk right now.
Yeah.
So I think. I mean, obviously you want a method of pushing high ground, but I like what they did last game. It's like, okay, we're gonna get past the early game first, and then we're gonna concentrate on the late game. I think if they let up on the early game and go up versus Evil Geniuses mid to late game decision making, it's similar to like the Navi versus Secret. Like you're just, or Cloud9 versus Secret. You're not gonna win in the late game if you just purely aim for late game. You have to have an advantage in the early game, and that will make up for the inherent weak matchup in the late game.
Okay. Well, the Storm ban is followed by a Zeus pick by Hot6.
Yeah, it looks like they actually did want the Storm then, because this is... I feel like Zeus doesn't fit in that well with the strategy as the Storm would, who I feel fits even less than the Viper would, but it's very possible that MP doesn't like these...
Static heroes.
He doesn't really play the static lane dominators. He's more of a mobile ganking kind of mid player, so they're going to grab him as Zeus instead.
I mean, they have a lot of bursts from their lineup. DK, Lightning Bolt, and a lot of bursts with Gyro and Tusk as well. So, I mean, technically, it could work.
It's
what they
still
have.
just...
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like it synergizes that well with what they have in the first 4 picks, but I wouldn't say it's a really bad thing to have the Zeus there. It still might work because they have a lot of bursts with Zeus on the field.
The problem is their win condition here. Like, how do they actually get in a position where they can siege high ground? They have a Gyro frontliner as the only one. And it just, to me, it looks like this EG last pick of Ember Spirit is just... In case our early game doesn't go very well with all of this aggression you guys can put out, good luck pushing our base. You have a Gyro frontliner as the only one. We can hookshot you with Clock and set it up. We have Song of the Siren. And, of course, even, like, just the Ember will be very hard to push into, so... I'm curious to see if they can pull that off and break the base.
Yeah, well, let's find out. Hot6 fighting for one more point on the board before we wrap up today. Ladies and gentlemen, Game 2 of Evil Geniuses versus MVP Hot6.
EG with what certainly feels like a very Evil Geniuses lineup. You know, we've got some very key heroes on their side, and I'm looking forward to this one. Game 1 was a lot of excitement here between the two sides. It was a long one as well. I think it went out to about 56 minutes or so in the end between these two teams. Both teams proving to put on a really big fight, and I've got to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Hot6 maybe even come close to taking a game back against EG, because in the first game, they certainly showed a lot of promise.
Yeah, they showed that they understand very well what their lineups are meant to do, and I think that's kind of the hallmark of a Tier 1 team is we know what our timings are, we know what we need to win, and at the very least, we understand that we need to build our heroes in a very specific way to hit that timing, and that's super, super important. Just to make sure that you understand the ins and outs of your heroes as you pick them. So when you get to that like 30-minute mark and you know we need to be a racks up, then you start kind of thinking, okay, we need to start trying to either deviate or go for the gold.
That is a stat and a half there. Ember Spirit, 7 wins, 0 losses in the hands of the Chinese, 0-8 in the non-Chinese teams. So yes, indeed, Sumail, can he break this curse? And that's quite a curse to break. That is quite a stat.
I think if anyone can do it, though, it's EG. Like, I don't think PPD picks a hero and assumes that somebody on his team doesn't know how to play it, right? Like, if it's PPD and he makes you play heroes, he wants his teammates to random every game just so they know how to play everything. So I'm pretty sure if anyone's going to break that curse, it will be EG.
And let's see what they're able to achieve with this one. Of course, a big shout out to everyone joining us here on the main stream for what I'm sure is going to be one more very exciting game here to end this stream off. So now straight in with the Searing Trade, just giving a couple of hits to MP. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this mid lane matches up. As you always say, Zeus is one of those heroes who's going to be able to farm the lane nonetheless. You're going to have a pretty hard time at bullying him out of it. But the question is, how much can Sumail find in return? Dual lanes across the maps pretty much at this time. It's going to be the CM actually focusing on a bit of the jungle. So PPD just leaving, of course, Universe on his own on the clock at the bottom, where he should be fine. I mean, he's up against the Gyrocopter. Dazzle's making the pulls, but Universe should be able to find quite a bit from this offlane.
Yeah, I think he'll get a lot of EXP from this, which is going to be great because there's a couple of heroes that if he just hook shots, I mean, outside of the Gyrocopter, Claw can pretty much go on anyone, right? Tusk can snowball while he's inside of the cog, sure, but a lot of the other heroes are more or less fair game. And we talked about that mid matchup like you were mentioning, MP versus Sumail. Just keep in mind that MP is very gankable in this lane. Like, all you have to do is send one hero with a Disable into a Searing Chains of Flame Guard, and the Zeus is dead.
Top lane, Jackson's son just interrupting the pull here from Naga. I mean, I guess on the plus side for the side of EG, the sensibility of putting fear on that Quap in the safe lane means it is a hero that's going to be a little bit harder for the Undying Tusk combination to crush in lane.
They kind of have to go on Aoi, and even doing that is a bit risky, especially if you're by the tower, because you're going to have points into Ensnare, like level 2 Ensnare, level 3 Riptide at level 5, or maybe 1-1-3, depending on how Aoi wants to play it. And that means that even if you try to go for an all-in and you go too far, you could just end up trading kills, because Queen is very good at chasing. So I do like the way that EG have gone about this.
Sumail's going to be a little bit scared here, hiding behind the tower, because there was an Invis rune picked up by Tusk, was spotted out by the EG Observer Ward. But Tusk, Jarek's actually going to head back towards the top lane. I mean, as we're saying, it's going to be hard to catch out someone like Fear. Can certainly do a fair bit against him. Aoi on the sidelines as well. I mean, Jarex might go for a bit of the odd one too. His level 2 has got that ball, and here we go. Okay, trapping Aoi in. They've dropped the tombstone, but Sun, he's getting incredibly low. We'll get the double decay off, which will buy him enough HP to keep himself safe. But indeed, we're seeing this issue here where side of Hot6 tried to go aggressive, but they can't find anything in return. Aoi and Fear just a little bit too elusive to take down on their own at this point. Universe being as annoying as ever here on this bottom lane and nearly about to hit level 4, interrupting the double pull being made from Heen. And 3 minutes in yet again. We had a bit of a slow start to game 1. It looks like it's going to be similar here. Neither team really looking for the kills at the moment. Universe is moving in now. Maybe looks to change this here. He's got 1 point in the Battery Assault and 1 in the Rocket Flare. Looking for Heen. He's got the creep way to tank it up, in fact. And Universe is just going to pop the cogs. And looks like he doesn't fancy to continue that little 1v1 in the jungle.
It was really nice awareness from Heen, realizing that he had those creeps around him, and all he had to do was just go in for a heal. He's even holding on to his skill points for a little bit, just in case something ends up happening where he might need poison to secure a kill on the offlaner or something similar to that. But I'm kind of inclined to agree with you. Not probably going to see too many rotations coming out at the very least. Most heroes in this game probably just content to sit there and just farm it up. I will say, though, that the fact that Hot6 are not able to really pressure this top lane, Queen is sitting at highest CS, or second highest right now. So that is a little bit concerning.
Indeed, Fear's farm looking very good. And Sumail's farm in the mid lane as well. Not too shabby at all. 20 for 1 against the 23 of 2 of the Zeus. So Sumail definitely keeping on par with the Zeus's farm, which is pretty impressive in itself. In the jungle again, Clockwork just coming in, trying to interrupt this pull here from the Heen on the Dazzle. Universe sitting at level 4. Heen, how's he doing in terms of XP? Sitting at level 3 at the moment here, and still, yeah, as you said, holding on to those skill points. For Rev's farm at the moment, 23 for 4. He's not having too much of a hard time because, if anything, Universe focusing more on disrupting the Dazzle and kind of eyeing him up, looking for potential kills rather than focusing on hindering for Rev's farm here in the safe lane.
Now, whenever you see a pull, you kind of have to go contest that particular part of it because there's no creeps there, right? Like, it's just going to be 4Rev farming under his tower. There's not really much to contest. You just need to go to the jungle and make sure that Heen's not getting solo EXP. So Universe is definitely doing the right thing. The wave is actually being pushed under his tower, which means that he will be getting a lot.
Ensnare, top lane, trying to set it up here, but the eyesight, well, sorry, no, eyesight side, Jesus, we're not watching VG Gaming. PPD tried to come in with a smoke gang, doesn't pay off, and certainly with a heal bomb coming in as well. The side of MVP Hot6 bringing down Aoi on the Nago. Now with the zombies chasing down Fear, he's going to have a blink of 10 seconds, but that's going to be 10 seconds too long. Undying there with the decay and Sun. And Jarex. Sorry, no ice on the Tusk, but 3 for 0. Hot6 with the plays there in the top lane.
That heal caught them totally off guard. Like this ward, I think it saw him teleport, or not teleport, but walk into the lane, but they didn't see the teleport scroll itself. So he just got annihilated by a heal. That was a very, very quick reaction coming in from Heen. Very nicely played.
And very nice from Hot6 indeed. 5 minutes and a half in. 3 kills on the board. Mid lane, Samael's going in. He's got the back of a Valley as well. Zeus in a lot of trouble and will go down. TP's coming in. Will they be able to turn this one around? They haven't really got anything to control Samael. They have got the snowball. Is he going to be able to connect on him? Sumail just a little bit too quick. PBD coming in for the turnaround. Looking for Sun. Some with the Soul Ring keeping himself alive. They'll bring him down though nonetheless. Forev though with the Rocket Barrage getting himself a double kill. Taking down both Samael and PBD. Jerax now moving towards Aoi. And Aoi's walked straight into Heen. This could be another kill here for the side of Hot6. Heen with the body blocks. Trying to get them in position. The Ice Shard comes out. But look. That's the glitch with Naga. There are certain heroes that can get through the gap of the Ice Shards, and Naga Siren is one of them. Doesn't matter though. MP with the TP will be able to kill the Naga at the end of the day. 6 for 2 at the moment, still favoring the side of Hot6. And yeah, indeed, there's a few heroes that can walk through a certain part of the Ice Shards if you right-click individually in that gap, kind of spam clicking. Maybe he intended, we'll never know.
He did it flawlessly. Like he didn't even stop. He just went straight through.
Naga, I think there's about 3-4 heroes that can do it. Naga is one.
Yeah, that was pretty...
I want to say, I think PL's in it. I don't know.
Pretty hilarious, actually, that ends up happening.
It's, it doesn't matter, because he dies anyway, at least. You know, MP was there with the Zeus, with the TP. But still 6 for 2. I mean, Hot6 keeping themselves on top of EG.
Yeah, again, the Gyrocopter's been very active. We saw Forev go in there. They realized that when Sumail goes for that kill on mid, he actually used all 3 of his remnants. So normally when you play Ember Spirit, it's just a good rule of thumb to have a retreat remnant to make sure that you're not going to be fully committing to a fight and then get caught out and die, right? But he dives, has no retreat remnants, and then Forev comes in from the side and manages to pick him off. So really nice for Hot6 that they were able to get those kills. Universe with the Invis here. He's level 6.
Let's see what he can do. He's got 3 points of the Battery Assault as well. He's going to be the target, but MP is there. Hook shot straight onto him, but they might be able to turn this one around in the Universe. Indeed, he eats himself out of the cogs and says, I am getting out of here. TP's coming in as well. In fact, the full 5-man of Hot6 around this mid lane needs to be careful. Samael as well being forced back here by Forev, joining forces with MP and Sun. And they're going to be ready to maybe look to try and get a bit of harassment down onto this tier 1 in the mid lane. Bottom lane, Tusk beginning to soak up the levels there. Using the space very close to hitting 6 and getting that Walrus Punch online. Looking to build into the urn here as well. Fear's got the treads, but net worth at the moment favouring the side of Hot6. Top 2 heroes at the moment, the Gyro and the Zeus. In what's been a very, very good start here for the Radiant. And off the back of this, they're going to look to push here onto the tier 1. EG, what's the response? PPD moving in, level 5 at the moment on your Crystal Maiden. And Sumail actually heading towards the bottom lane. Has got the 3 remnants up. I wonder if he can go for a kill here onto the Tusk. Probably not, with the fact that I'm sure this Tusk is hitting levels. Yeah, he's got level 6 now, so he has got the Walrus Punch available. And top lane at the same time, Fear just continue to make the most of this space. Pushing in onto the tower. There's going to be a rotation there for Dazzle and Zeus actually heading up to the top lane. So a bit of musical lanes going on now with Zeus kind of gravitating around the top. You're Undying and Jaro towards the middle, and Tusk sitting himself down on the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think it's actually really good for Hot6 to have MP to sit top for a while. It's a much harder lane to really go all in on. So if he's sitting mid, for example, they can just dive in with Sumail, where I think is diving the offlane tier 1 is a little bit harder to do because you have less like safe retreat paths instead of just walking like into the enemy jungle and being able to juke everywhere. So he's going to make his way back mid now, though, if he wants to try to like counter push the lane or just make sure that Forev is not going to be in too much trouble. Whereas EG are prioritizing Aoi hitting 6 now. They want him to get that song up and going.
Oh, Dazzle just getting himself away from Fear there with the old Shallow Grave TP, just enough to buy him time to get himself out. Fear, of course, using the ult to bring him low, but not low enough. And Hot6 get away with saving the Dazzle.
Universe is still, he's level 7 almost. He's got 34 CS. Offlane Clockwork. We were talking about how in the beginning he wasn't really getting much farm, but because of the fact that Forev has been all over the place, like TPing mid, getting kills and such, it's allowed Universe to have this great early game. We're going to see a smoke here.
Yeah, indeed. They found Sumail and PPD. It is just the 2 of them, though, the Gyro and the Undying. They don't really have the control at all to deal with Sumail, and now they might be in trouble because there's a bit of a wraparound. Aoi's there, has the song available if they want to try and go back in. We do also have Quat moving around the river. Of course, Fear doesn't have the Sonic Wave available. It's still on cooldown. I'm not going to use the song to initiate here, though, and the rest of MVP going back to pushing this tower now down to less than a third of its health. Jerax on the sidelines, ready to go in with that Tusk. And it looks like Hot6 will be able to create the space here to get this tier 1. Fortification comes out, but not a lot the Evil Geniuses can do to stop this push. And MVP will be the first team to claim themselves a tower this game. Top lane, Fear.
Jerax.
Oh,
Nice deny.
deny. Very nice indeed from Jerax.
So, tower denied, tower taken in mid. A very nice tower to take at such an early stage. I mean, Hot6, they are pushing the pace. They are not letting EG just sit there and do their old farming thing without taking something away from them, which is very, very cool to see. And you know what else is pretty neat is the fact that Ember actually built treads. Something that you don't really see too often. Like, most Ember Spirits go phase right into drums, or like phase Aquila and then Bottle Crow and whatnot, and then just go straight for like Battle Fury or something.
That's true indeed. Yeah, not always the build that comes out. Hook shot on the bottom lane, straight onto Forev. There's going to be TP back up winner as well with the triple. Remnants looking for the burst damage. Forev trying to turn it around with the Rocket Barrage. Isn't quite enough, but oh, there we go. Zeus with the Thunder God's Wrath will be able to bring down the Clockwork in response. So a 1-for-1 trade there, but Hot6 do lose there for Rev Gyrocopter. At the same time, though, we do have Sun, MP, and Jerax on this top lane looking for a tier 1. Clearing the wave out here as well. They should be able to find it. Already ready with the defense down in the bottom lane. You've got your Dazzle clearing out that wave. So again, MVP taking their second tier 1 of the game. And EG just with that tier 1 from the top they've managed to remove. Now we're just applying a bit of pressure in the mid lane, looking for the skip here with the illusions. Actually going to time out now at the moment, but still 7th of 3, favoring Hot6, and Hot6 looking pretty good this year.
Now the game is still pretty even, and Heen is
Oh,
going to be in some trouble.
He has got the Shallow Grave and a TP available, but Searing Chains is being held onto by Sumail. He doesn't even need it at the end of the day. One quick Sleight of Fist will finish off the job. And that's going to be the second kill under the belt of Sumail. 2 assists as well at the moment. He's been pretty damn active and has, of course, been involved in all the kills so far of EG, but EG PBD might be in trouble. Solid Wave coming out there, trying to stop Forev, killing the Crystal Maiden. To PBD with the Jukes, so the Jukes pick it up.
way.
They will be! Freezing Field comes out in time, they get the kill. Thunder God's Wrath does end up finishing off the Crystal Maiden, though. So it is, again, a 1-for-1. Okay, Aoi with the song. Has a TB, says, yep, Tombstone's in, I'm out. Nagasaran out the fight, the rest of EG. So they do lose PPD there, but they do get the Gyro kill. So a very, very good trade there for the side of Evil Geniuses.
Very worth. PPD tried so hard to get away from that. Okay, they know that Sumail's in the area. He's got a Remnant up in about 1 second. He's walking past a Tombstone. Okay, they can't kill him. There's no way. He can just use his Remnant to get out if he needs to. But that was a very fortuitous trade coming in from EG, making sure that they could get that Gyrocopter farther and farther away from his BKB. It's something we haven't talked about much, but EG's lineup is very magic damage heavy, which means that if Forev can get to BKB at a decent timing, he's going to be pretty darn hard to take down. And we've seen what Gyrocopters can do during that. Even a pretty decent start, so I think EG probably has this in mind. They really want to try to continue to at least punish a little bit before that Gyrocopter gets too much.
Indeed, 8 for 5 at the moment. Hot6, they've got the Zeus at the top of the net worth. Sumail's farm on the Ember is looking pretty good. He's certainly having a good game so far on the Ember Spirit. He did have 1,200, now so 1,500. What's he bought up here? What is he opting for at the moment on the courier? Okay, so it is going to be the Ring of Hell. So now on top of the treads, going to go straight for that Battle Fury rush.
I think it makes the most sense in this game. They probably realize what I was mentioning just a little bit earlier, is, hey, we got a lot of magic damage, but we don't have a lot of physical damage unless Sumail starts building for very quick DPS items. So getting the Battle Fury is the first step in that direction. And I think the faster he gets it out, he's already got the purse, so that's not too bad, considering he was up in that middle lane and did have 1 death to his name. But highest farmers in terms of CS still on the side of EG. And right now, MVP, they're looking to try to counter pressure here a little bit. They need to be careful, though, because when Song is back up in about 60 seconds, EG have been known to use Song to initiate a lot.
Indeed, Aoi waiting on the sidelines there with Universe looking for an opening. Interesting note, of course, Fear, he has picked up that first Oblivion Staff, so going to be looking for that Orchid as his first item this game. And I guess when you look at the side of Hot6, understandably so.
I'm wondering how much Hot6 really want to force this. They have pretty much everyone here. I don't know why they feel the need to actually do this like right this second. Maybe they eventually just back off. Or I guess, no, never mind. EG are probably just going to sack the tower.
Yeah, they should be able to get it. Weave's been thrown down ready defensively, so they're going to start to tank up. Fortification coming out. Aui's still hanging around there, but yeah, it looks like they're just going to let this one go. PPD actually looking to try and take a tier 1 of his own. In the mid lane, Sumail coming in as well, and indeed the courier getting caught out there.
He ulted for that
with
courier, by the way.
He did indeed, and what did it have on him? It had something. It was just, okay, it was the Bloodstone recipe here. So slowing that one down. So it is certainly something. They were able to get the tier 1 bottom. They do defend the tier 1 mid for the time being, and will be able to find the deny there with Jerax and MP working away at it. But
That's
still.
the second tier 1 actually that's been denied. Both the towers that EG have taken this game have not been actually tower kills. They've just been tower denies, which is definitely good. Like when you're playing against a team that has a pretty mid-game focus, I would say, from EG's side at least, it's nice to be able to have that extra gold taken away from them because you don't want them to hit their item progression at the right timing. Think of last game when that tanker didn't have all the items that he needed.
EG smoked up, moving up to the high ground. They found MP here with the vision and straight onto the Zeus. Zeus trying to turn it around, bringing PPD low with the burst. Not low enough though, and EG getting themselves a clean-cut kill, ending the killing spree of the Quap. And at the same time, Clockwork going in onto Dazzle, and just getting himself away with a TP from Forev. So, well, a couple of pickups there for EG, and this time Hot6, they don't have an answer for it.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate that he gets caught running in that particular part of the woods. Like, no one was really going to be able to help him there. I think Sun was in the area, but he's like, yeah, you're probably dead. I'm not going to risk anything trying to save you right there. But still, Hot6, they're not in too bad a shape. The one thing about Zeus that's really nice in this game is his ability to spam waves. Like, once he has that Bloodstone completed when Courier's back up, like, he'll be able to keep them out of the base for a very long time just by virtue of spam. And EG's high ground push, not really that great. Like, it's okay once the Ember starts getting a lot of farm, but he's a melee hero who has to actually walk up to high ground to start hitting the tower. And again, Zeus, Gyro, like even Weave, for example, coming out from the Dazzle, it can be pretty dangerous to do that.
Bottom lane, Jerax joining forces here with Forev. Maybe seeing if they can find an initiation onto Universe on this Clockwork, but Universe keeping his distance quite much, and PPG is there to back him up as well. Still 17.5 minutes in, 8-7. Not necessarily the most action-packed games. Both teams now focusing on the farming element. Sumail at the top, closing in on that Battle Fury, of course. He's only got, just a few hundred to go, and he will have that done and dusted. So, at that point, it's going to be not a bad timing on top of the Aquila Treads and one. And it's going to certainly speed up the farm.
Yeah. He's got his bottle on top of everything else, so his farm is more than okay. He's highest CS in the game. And he's been involved in 5 of the 7 of his team's kills, so I'd say Sumail is having a pretty darn good time. But we kind of expected this, right? Up against Zeus, a lot of heroes just still farm. Even though Zeus does a lot of damage during the laning phase, it's just like, you can't ever really force Sumail back if he's consistently bottle crowing, and especially once it hits level 6. Because then you can just go back to base whenever you want, as long as your TP is off cooldown. So basically once, every 70 seconds? It's not too bad.
Not bad at all indeed, in terms of doubling yourself back up. Notable, of course, Fear now has the Orchid complete on your Queen. So we'll see. We'll be able to see what he's going to be able to do with that. He's hit level 11 as well now with the second point in Sonic Wave. Now with the courier back up, Bloodstone has been delivered to MP here on this Zeus. So he'll start to be able to get on that quest of getting those charges up. And, well, it depends what the plan of action is next for both teams. Universe at the moment working towards his 4-staff, only about 100 gold away from that recipe, so he's going to have that very soon on top of his Blade Man. As always, Universe's farm has been very, very nice here on the offlane.
He's actually so farmed. He has 85 CS in a 19-minute game as offline Clockwork. Like, what is that? Like, how do you have that much farm?
Well, it's certainly been looking very, very good for him, and I think that's kind of showing the graph there for the whole team as well. Around 4K lead here in terms of net worth for EG. And just a little bit more in terms of XP, but they have maintained this lead for a little bit of time now over Hot6. Hot6 yet to find the play that's going to help pull them back round, but it's still just a tiny difference. At this point of the game, Hot6 still very much in it. Aoi, of course, closing in on that mech. Picks up the recipe now. He's going to have that very, very shortly. Just with the completed buckler, that will be on its way out to him. And Forev, now with the Ogre Club, 1,800 gold towards completing what we'd imagine to be that BKB. Because as you said, once they've got the BKB on the Jaro, they're going to be in a much better place to fight. Sumail here, stacking up the Ancients, has got that completed Battle Fury, so we'll be able to make short work of them here with a Sleight of Fist. And that's going to be able to maintain his position on top of the net worth at the moment, hitting 9,000 at 20 minutes in.
I feel at some point Hot6 are going to have to address Sumail. If you look at the late game potential from both teams, it's going to get to a stage where Sumail might not be the best high ground hero, but he's going to be very hard to kill. They don't have a good team for jumping on him. Even a Snowball, as long as Sumail has a Remnant out, he's going to have to be Blink initiated on if they want to kill him. So JerAx is going to need Blink Dagger, punch him, Snowball him, hope that there's no counter initiation coming out from EG, which there is a lot. There's Song, there's Clockwork, there's even Queen of Pain, and we're going to see Orchid here. Bottom lane, JerAx going to be in some trouble. Will end up getting picked off here.
Orchid doing a lot of work there for Fear and Universe's combo. Fear just blinking himself out south to the trees. TP's out with the Thunder God's Wrath. They're in time from MP. Just enough damage to bring down the Queen in return. Top lane, Rev moving in with the cooldown. The slow's going to catch on to Howie, but he's got the Song. He's got the mech as well. Will simply TP away from that one, but it is indeed the level 1 Song, so it's going to be on cooldown for a good 3 minutes now. So that might be a little kind of window that Hot6 might be able to make something of. Mid lane though, Sumail applying the pressure. He's got PPD in there, well, to the sidelines with him. And as you said, Sumail at this point now where the side of Hot6, understandably, going to be a little bit scared of the old Ember.
I'm just wondering what is their counterplay to the Ember late game? How does Hot6 deal with that hero? Because it's one thing to not have a great high ground team, but it's another to have such good team fight that the enemy team just can't kill your composition. And I think that's what's going to end up happening here, because between the two cores of EG, they're both highly mobile. Whereas Hot6, they don't really have that good of a team for locking down heroes. So something's got to give. Like either Hot6 need to start trying to do something, or eventually I think EG are just going to get too far out of control.
Well, top lane now, we continue to find what he can here on this Naga Siren. Undying, mech very close to being finished, just needs a couple of hundred for that recipe. And Rev does have the completed BKB now. A couple of hundred gold on top of it.
That could be what they need. They could say, okay, now we got BKB, let's try to do something.
So Mel, he's got 2.8k gold now on top of the Battle Fury, so it will be interesting to see what he goes for, whether it's going to be that crit, maybe going for the second Battle Fury, or maybe even something a little bit more on the defensive. But as you said, I feel he certainly can go for the full aggression against Hot6's lineup.
I think double Battle Fury is really nice, just because it gives you like infinite regen, more or less. But I guess with the CM Aura, you probably don't need a second one. Probably can just stick with one and then go straight for crit or something.
Oh, Hot6 now.
Oh, he's going to find a stack too.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Damn, that's quite some stack as well here.
Yeah, that's, what, 3 stacks?
Yeah, triple stack here on the Radiant. And Sumail's going to be pretty safe in taking it. Hot6 actually
Oh, he's going to try to
smoking
stack
up.
it again.
Ah, that's efficiency and a half here there from the EG mid. And
I didn't get it.
unlucky.
Close, though.
Unlucky there for Sumail, but still a bonus, of course, taking that away from the side of Hot6. Hot6 smoking up, kind of hoping to bait here with Rev, force some kind of reaction from EG, but EG, they're just not falling for it, and they're just going to look to push themselves.
PPD is sieging a tier 3 tower by himself. Like, how is a Crystal Maiden like showing here at a tier 3, and MVP are still content to push that lane? Like, they have to realize that even though they're trying to make a trade right now, it is not favoring them. The tier 2 mid is being pressured. They got damage dealt on their tier 3 as well. Like, I guess since you're already here, you might as well get the tower, but what they're trading for it is not worth it.
Yeah, they lose a tier 2 themselves here in the mid lane. And Ember, Sumail just with a sleight of fist there, pushing it on. Remnants himself back out, though. Doesn't want to stick around for the push. And backs up with the rest of the team as well. It isn't just, in fact, PPD. The balls of steel here on the side of the Radiance map. Not scared at all. Gets himself a little bit of jungle on the way back to base. Because they're going to need to come back for the defense. Forev and the guys are still piling on the pressure. PPD is ready to defend, though, with the help of Universe on this clock. And Universe now on the clock has got a fair bit of items building up as the 4-staff, of course, complete. And now with the point booster working towards that Aghanim Scepter. Likewise, Fear with the point booster himself, 1,200 gold on top of that with the Orchid. So he's going to be looking for that Aghanims as well. Should be able to get a relatively good timing. And okay, there it is. It is going to be the second Battle Fury for Sumail on its way out to him right now in the career.
Yeah, I guess you could drop Aquila here, or Wand, just whichever one you prefer, I guess. It's going to be the Wand in this case. Yeah, but double Battle Fury is fantastic because you can Sleight of Fist off cooldown, even without CM Aura, and you will always be at full mana, so long as you're not popping everything else. Orchid.
Fierce straight in. The Sonic Wave's going to be off the mark. In fact, the hook shot as well. Doesn't matter, though, because Aui's there to clean it up with the gang. Now with the Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains onto 2, holding Forev and JerAx back. So Mel might stick around for a bit more action here. Fear and Aui ready to go back in here with the Mirror's Image. Moving forward with a homing missile, holding Sumail back. Universe coming in as well. EG, they want to look for more blood. Aoi, he's going to be able to find the ensnare. Now with the Solar Crest from Aoi, bringing the armor down very low. One Sleight of Fist, dropping Jerax to about less than half of his health. The Snowball has come out. It's just going to be towards the creep wave. Oh, the Sleight of Fist again, bringing him down low. The Rocket Flare also putting Jerax right on the edge of death. Sora's going to keep it topped up, though. But they've got to be really scared of Sumail now. In these engagements, we're seeing a couple of Sleight of Fists and dropping most of these heroes down to less than half health.
Yeah, that's just the strength of an Ember, though. And you can see he's sitting here pretty much alone. 3 members of Hot6 in the area. He's obviously going to be backing now because the rocket's on him, but it's so hard for the team of Hot6 to actually kill these cores. Like, between Queen and Ember, what do they have? Like, how do they actually kill them? I mean, I guess Jerax is closing in on his Blink Dagger, so that's one step in the right direction. But up until this point, that BKB has not been popped at all by the Gyrocopter. 4 Evans had a 10-second BKB for, like, what, 7 or 8 minutes? Maybe even longer?
He just hasn't really found himself in a position to fight with it. 2.2k gold on top of the BKB as well, so we'll be able to start making his way towards that damage item, which I guess we'll probably expect to see probably the MKB come out in this situation.
Yeah, it could be MKB. Could be Lifesteal as well. Just depends. He could also go Butterfly. I think Butterfly is actually really good against Ember when you don't actually have a way of jumping on him. Because if you, for whatever reason, are standing next to a couple of heroes and there's a double Battle Fury Ember with crit and you don't evade some of the damage, you can kind of just die.
Universe gets the hookshot onto Prep. Now there's your BKB coming out. Is he going to be able to find anything off the back? Nah, it's just a BKB and get the hell out of there. There from the Gyrocopter. Still 27 minutes in, just 9 for 9.
Yeah, but
not a lot.
If you look at the golden experience, it's like EG have a reason.
I mean,
for not fighting.
that's a lot. That
like
is a huge difference.
They know what they're doing by not fighting, because if we talk about the cores and their mobility on EG, then you also have to keep in mind that those cores get to play more aggressive, which opens up the jungle for other heroes like PPD or Aoi or Universe who might not be able to farm those dangerous positions. They just send those heroes out to spots where they can farm that other heroes can't, and then say, okay, well, the rest of the map I'm just going to eat. And since Hot6 know they're behind, they're still not feeling as confident to be able to come out of base and try to force an engagement because they feel like they might lose. And now with the use of this DD, Sumail and the rest of EG are looking to take Roshan.
They are. Hot6 are going to smoke up. The question is, can they get there in time to contest it? And the answer is no. Roshan to fall. Aegis is going to go the way of Sumail here on the Ember Spirit. And Hot6 just a little bit too late to the party. They are going to continue to head that way, though. But EG have started to move themselves away from the pit, and it's going to be unlikely that Hot6 find anything off the back of this. Sumail now with 3.5k gold on top of his 2 Battle Furies. 28 minutes in, this Ember Spirit looking pretty darn terrifying.
As soon as he gets to Daedalus, they're going to have some issues. 4Ev might be forced to BKB here as well. Okay, never mind. Not many EG are in the area, so. But if you look at the way Sumail's pushing out this lane, like, he knows. He's just like, you can't kill me. Even with 2 Battle Furies and almost no survivability items to his name except for Treads, which he's got on Agi, he says, yeah, whatever. It's fine. I got Aegis. I got a Retreat Remnant. I'm not really sure what Hot6 are going to do about that. Like, what is your counterplay here?
Sleight of Fist here and chains on Taheen, just keeping him on his toes. And Sumail, indeed, he's just out there all on his own, not a care in the world, has the Remnant to safely retreat back to. And it goes Raph scouting it all out, but he's scouting out a little bit too low because Universe goes in. They're able to take down Tusk. Now they can look for MP as well. And PPD moving in, but Sun coming in, dropping the Tombstone. PPD with a freezing field, and the Glimmer Cape. Is it going to be enough to find a kill? No, not quite enough to finish off MP. MP and Sun will live. They do kill PPD here. So it ends up being the 1-for-1 trade there on the bottom lane. Tusk for the CM. Still on the top lane, Aoi and Sumail applying the pressure with the Solar Crest. If they can find the ensnare on Taheen, he's going to be having to be very, very careful. Sumail's just going to start to chip away at this tower. And again, just burning down Heen. Sumail, he has got pretty much the money for, was that for Sumail's Daedalus? He's still just 1,000 short. Okay, he's 1,000 short of the Demon Edge. Here we go, the Heen forever. Trying to clear this one out. TP back coming in from Tusk as well. This time Sumail's going to back himself out. A little bit too low on the old mana to stick around, but 10 for 10. EG slowly but surely forcing the creep waves the way of Hot6. Still just looking to take that final bottom tier 2 away from the side. Sumail going to tank this homing missile. Hot6 kind of moving out of the base here, but the TP outs are already there. Sumail and Aoi leaving the top lane and not leaving themselves susceptible to being caught out by the side of Hot6. Fair continuing to farm. Aghanims, 2k gold on top of it as well, keeping himself second on the board, just behind Sumail.
Yeah, but this is, again, it's just utilizing the map to its fullest. So the biggest difference in gold is not really the carries or the cores, per se. It's the supports and the offlane. Like, right now, Aoi is like 10k net worth almost. Universe is 9.5. Then the people who you would compare to that on the side of Hot6 are 5.6 and 5.5. Like, as a support / offlane, right? So they're just getting flat out controlled on the map and out-farmed. And it's, again, because of their inability to initiate. They do not have an initiation hero. It's just Tusk. And I'm sorry, but a 1 second stun punch into a snowball is not enough time. Like, you actually need a way of jumping and getting a kill.
Oh, Forever moving forward to Sumail. Sumail, he does not have a care in the world. He's taking around bottom lane. Universe going in with a hook shot, using the cog set to push MP back. TP reactions are coming out. And it's just going to be Jerax backing himself up as Fear blinks in with the Orchid onto the Tusk. Nothing more to come of this one, though. They have found this Observer Ward, though. MP's going to be able to claim that one for the team. And still, Sumail, he's set up camp here on this top lane. Now has got enough money to pick up the Demon Edge, which will now be on its way with a completed Daedalus in tow. So double Battle Fury, Daedalus complete. One Sleight of Fist and Searing Chains there, bursting down for Rev.
Oh, the creeps are going to spawn. Oh, God, he might die. Okay, never mind. He did it too soon. There. Okay, that was scary. I think Sumail was hoping for the creep wave to spawn and be there when he threw out that slight.
His Universe, how's he doing on his Aghanims on this clock? He was pretty close earlier. He's still closing in on it, just 500 gold to go. And we're going to see that Universe clock Aghanims. How's Aoi doing, in fact, on the Naga?
He's
saw him,
stacked.
Guardian Greaves with 1,600 gold on top of a Solar Crest. Yes, please, if you're an Agasara.
I wonder if he goes back for a Glimmer if he wants to go like Aghanims again. I think Aghanims is actually very useful against Zeus.
Oh, we might see a fight kick off. Universe initiating now with the Orchid onto MP. The Cogs forcing back as well. Jerax with the snowball forward will get the uppercut onto Fear. They have already lost MP though on the Zeus. 20 seconds though because of those Bloodstone charges before he's back. They're able to get rid of the Tombstone. EG not actually looking to fight it. Jerax, he does.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's stuck in the trees though. This is not the blink. He's going to look to TP out. Freezing Field, will it be enough? It won't be quite enough damage. Jerax able to escape. They're actually going to look for the TP out and Sun as well, and they haven't got anything to cancel it. Sun able to escape as well. PPD did have the Frostbite available there, but he just wanted to sit there and let it go. And oh, man, that is big. Sumail getting caught out. Gyro getting the gold on top of it as well. Sumail just getting a little bit too big for his boots. And that's a hefty gold and XP swing there for the side of Hot6.
His Aegis had to have faded. That's the only way. Oh, Snowball.
Bottom lane indeed, though. We're going straight onto Aoi. Fairly low with the Auror's Punch as well. And there we go. MP with a burst. Bringing it down. Sonic Wave. And the Soul Burn there from the Orchid. Enough to get the Tusk down in response. PPD a little bit low on mana. Now going to be chased down by MP, Forev, and Sun. Fear is still hanging around as well. Trying to scare off the side of Hot6. Forev leading the charge. And he's found Fear. Fear blinks himself away. Forev continuing to force Quap out of the base. There's going to be a homing missile coming in. And Forev certainly looks to be in a position to continue to chase this. Nope. Gonna just hold back, clear out the wave, and is content with forcing Quap back to base. But nonetheless, yeah, taking down Sumail, getting Aoi as well. Hot6 keeping the game even at 12-12, but still overall, of course, that difference between the gold and XP very much favoring the side of Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit out of hand. I think the Zeus, I think he's going Hex. Yeah, he needs Hex, actually. If he has Blink and a Hex, they could potentially open up on the Ember in such a way that unless Naga Siren is able to Song in time, they might be able to burst him down. And the fact that they killed him in the first place is actually nothing short of a miracle. Like, that's so good for them, that they even get him off that side of the map one time. Because it means that's, what, like 2 or 3 minutes where EG are not going to be able to play their fully effective game where they're just farming all 3 lanes and the woods at the same time. So, really good stuff. I was wondering if Forev would actually get into like Rapier gold territory in this game, but he goes for the MKB, hook shot.
And he's straight in onto Sun. Gets the Tombstone out to the high ground. Don't know if he's going to be able to save him. Actually keeping himself alive here. Ensnare from Aoi holding him in place. The burst damage coming onto Universe. Pops the Blade Mail. Now PBD with a freezing field. But Sun is just tanking himself up with the Decay. Not quite enough. They do bring down the Undying. And now with the Song looking for more. Moving up to Hot at the same Hot6, sorry, MP. Zeus turning around, in fact, and looks like they're going to get him for the time being. Sumail chasing down the hell. Universe and Sumail converging in on the Zeus. Thunder God's Wrath comes out not quite enough to kill Universe. And EG this time taking 3 from Hot6, losing nothing themselves there. As Forev was, of course, not part of the fight. Top lane at the moment, continuing to farm with the MKB and now 2.4k gold on top of it. But EG, they've got a taste for blood. They might be looking for more here. Moving towards Heen in the middle lane. PPD, Glimmer caped up. Not quite going to be... But still, Hot6 have got to be very careful about losing fights like that one.
Now, that was pretty scary. I'm surprised that like somebody actually died there without using mech. Maybe he just thought he was dead anyway. I'm not sure if the mech would have actually turned anything in their favor. But tier 3 in the meantime, top lane is going down. Leaves the racks fully exposed here. Means Sumail is going to be even more annoying with the split pushing that he's been doing so far.
And of course, you now have the Octarine turn on Fear as well as the Ags. So we're going to see those ultimates coming out with the Sonic Wave every 30 seconds. And a lot of spam ability and a lot of tank ability as well once he gets those spells flying out in the team fights. Just making him that little bit harder to take down. And of course, this game has only died the 2 times. Proven to be fairly elusive. And certainly with this pickup will continue to do so.
I think EG, for now, they probably just want to wait out Roche. Like, it's going to be a quick spawn. Of course, they don't know that yet, but they do have the courier in the vicinity, so they'll be able to see it as soon as it comes out. Hot6 might be able to defend Roshan. The one thing about Roche fights that's really cool for them is they actually have a huge amount of AoE damage in Tombstone, which is great utility around the pit because you can't really get away. Though what EG have been doing to deal with that is just popping Song and just hitting it. But sometimes it's just too hectic, right? Like, you don't actually get it coordinated fast enough to be able to kill it like in these small engagements. But EG, they know that Roshan's going to be up soon. They're pressuring the map, making sure the Hot6 are stuck inside of their base.
There. Oh, straight up Sonic Wave to the faces of Forev and MP. Brings himself away and oh, with the cleave and now Universe hook-shotting in onto Forev. That's your gyrocopter down for 70 seconds. Does have a buyback available, but this is at the key time where Roshan is going to be right around the corner as well if EG's so fancy to take it.
I think they force a buyback and go Roche. I don't know if they want to try to go all in, but
it certainly feels like that could be the play here. But all in all, things starting to look more comfortably in the hands of EG. 3.8k on Sumail and oh, with that hook shot. Getting dragged back as well as MP gets 4-star back. He's going to live through this one, but the Sleight of Fist bringing him low. Remnant back from the Sumail. Aoi now with the Song. Are they going to look to go back in on this one or just buy themselves some time? Actually going to be the Snowball flying in onto Aoi. Aoi getting low, but now with the Warrior Sponge. Actually going to go into Illusion, and that is going to be the Tusk and Undying dropping. 2 heroes down now on the side of Hot6 without buyback available. And now Sumail looking for a Sleight of Fist. Isn't going to latch onto anyone this time. Forev moving forward, but there's the hook shot again from Universe. The Cogs moving them back. MP low. The Shallow Grave is out just in time. But it looks like MP will still go down with Fear on the front lines, brings him down. They find the Zeus and now looking for Heen as well. Forev trying to do what he can to turn around onto Fear. Fear will actually drop. Universe gets the hook shot in onto Forev and snared up as well. They kill Forev. Sumail, a Sleight of Fist and a Searing Chain should do it. Heen's got the Shallow Grave looking to TP out. The Remnants, will he be able to get himself back to base? No, he won't. Double kill for Sumail. An effective team wipe there against the side of Hot6. We're going to see just EG losing Fear. There's going to be the buyback from Dazzle. Undying is now back into the game, but this is your gyro down for 70 seconds without buyback. And this is the middle racks and top racks exposed now. Now the question is, can Hot6 do anything to stop this push from EG? It's certainly going to be a tough one. Jerax moving forward with the ice shows now, blinking forward, looking for Aoi. They know that Aoi hasn't got the Song available for this time being. Can they bring him down with the Warrior's Punch? They're certainly going to give a good shot. He's going to look for the TP out. Isn't going to make it there. The heal bomb there from Dazzle, finishing off Aoi here on the Naga Siren. And they do manage to force EG back out from the base and defend it, but at quite a hefty cost. I mean, the fight recap there not really showing a lot, but I'm sure the graph itself will tick in, and we are indeed starting to see, because of the expenditure there Hot6 had to do to defend the base, coming out to a massive net worth and XP lead now for EG. I mean, even if it wasn't at that point already, EG just continuing to spiral out of control.
Now, they went really ham. Like, even as far as that first hook shot, like, what, Universe went to tier 4 towers, pretty much? So even with that considered, forcing buybacks, making the gyrocopter die back, EG still know that they're okay to take Roshan. Like, this is what happens when the enemy team is forced inside of their base for so long, that the lanes were all pushed in. Even if EG gets wiped off the map, they're forcing buybacks, they're making Hot6 spend money to defend their own base. They don't really have the right positioning to be able to contest this at all, so it's just going to be going the way of EG again. I'm not sure if they can stop this push 2 times in a row. They're not going to have 2 gyrocopters this time.
And this is going to be the push that may very well end the game here for EG if they wish to go for it. Sumail, of course, with the Lincoln Sphere picked up after the Battle Fury and Daedalus. He's only died twice this game, but it's certainly going to be hard to catch him out once again. We do see, of course, Zeus does indeed have that completed Hex. We'll see if he's able to find himself the opening to use it onto Sumail and take the kill. In fact, at the moment, Heen maybe getting caught out. Oh, with the Jukes there. Hiding in the tree line. Sumail walking around, actually getting spotted out. And here we go. They dispel the link. Is a perfect timing there with the Hex as well. That's a big pick-off. Sumail down for 90 seconds now and hasn't got that buyback available. I do believe he's just a little bit too short on the dollar. And a lot of money indeed going for Zeus there. And look at that. That one kill. A huge gold and XP change. Around 3,700 gold swing and a 4,000 XP swing as well. Sumail not in the right place at the right time there. Veer furiously pushing forward on this mid lane. You can see Hot6 start to rotate towards there. Aoi now 1,900 gold on top of the 4 staff which he did opt for. Veer now starting to level up a Dagon. That's going to be his next dynamite choice. Undying has got the Guardian Grease complete. Sun ready for the next fight. But still 15 for 21. The lead certainly very much in EG's favor. But those little kind of kills, if they can continue to find kills on Sumail, on Fear, Hot6 might just have it in them to bring this game back around.
It only takes a few kills. And as the game gets later and later, oh, gonna hear another hook shot. I guess it was a farming hook shot. Thanks, Universe, for making me panic. There's kind of a line where no matter what stage in the game you're in, obviously a team can have a lead and they're supposed to be able to win at that stage, but when you get to like 50, 60, 70 plus minute games, you're going to start seeing like 1 or 2 team fights just completely dictate the pace of the game. And sometimes it just ends the game straight up. So if they just get one good team fight, we saw how much they got from just killing Sumail. If they manage to take one really good engagement with that Hex and finding an opportune kill target, they could just turn the game based off that.
They certainly could indeed. It's still going to take quite a bit. Overall, quite far behind. Sumail getting scarier as the game passes on. Level 23 now on this Ember Spirit as well. And it's actually EG now heading to the top lane. Oh, they've found Jerax. I don't think there's any way he can get out of this one. Pops a Ghost Scepter. Freezing field there from PPD. They want the man dead. They're going to get the man dead.
That damage.
Tusk hitting the deck for a good minute now.
No buyback, but I'm not sure if EG are really going to have the time to counter pressure fast enough. They got 50 seconds or so. They might be able to deal some damage to the Raxes. And right now, Aoi is on his way over there as well. I don't know how he continues to just get insane amounts of money. Like, every time I see him, it's like he has another item in his inventory and like 2,500 plus gold. It's ridiculous how much this guy farms, or is able to farm with these styles of lineups. But the story has really been, I think EG probably outdrafted Hot6 like 2 games in a row, at least in terms of what their lineups are capable of doing. And understanding like what their lineup can do at what point. But we are going to see a searing chance here on Forev, the 4 staff.
Indeed getting forced forward. And not going to do anything off the back of that. Sumail just getting rid of that missile. And it's actually Universe hookshotting straight across to the mid lane. Trying to get the mid lane pushed in as well. Bottom lane's already working its way towards the tier 3 tower. So EG have the momentum in all 3 aspects. All 3 lanes of this game at the moment. And smoked up as well. Ready to try and catch someone out here. And they might just do that going up. Jerax, oh, getting bursted low. It's going to be fine for the time being, though. We'll have to make his way back to base before coming back out for the defense. And mid lane, Sumail just spamming out the Sleight of Fist here, making it harder and harder for Hot6 to get in with the defense. And the Rax are starting to fall slowly but surely. And again, Sumail, 1-2. We're going to see actually Aoi pick up this Vlad now at this point, just to help this team with this final little push. Maybe that's the item needed here, just to push it over the edge with that extra sustain in the lane with the lifesteal. It's going to be very nice, of course, for this Ember Spirit, and indeed straight onto Forev, forcing himself back out. Doesn't want to stick there in the party ring with Forev for the time being on the Gyro. Oh, whoa! That's a sneaky range Rex being taken there by Sumail. PPD getting low, side as well. That bring down the Crystal Maiden. See him hitting the deck for 70 seconds. The cleave damage there, doing a hell of a lot to the side of Hot6. Top range Rex has been taken down as well. Still yet to take a melee Rex, though, from the side of Hot6. And the question is, EG, they want to look for more with a player down. They are sticking around. It is just the CM that they are missing. And maybe still feeling fairly comfortable.
I'm not sure how, tense. Like Hot6, they only have 1 or 2 heroes that really can deal with the kind of split pushing that's happening right now. So basically what EG are doing is they're initiating. Oh, speaking of, Sumail.
Straight onto him, Universe there with the hook shot, though, to buy time for Sumail to round him back out. And now actually the song, okay, from Aoi. Are they going to be able to set something off with this one? EG Fear, yeah, there we go. So he's looking for the top set of racks. Fortification will come out in time. He isn't quite able to find the melee racks here. MP and Jerax trying to fight into this one. They're going to go for the snowball onto Samel with a punch as well. Haven't quite got enough to bring him down. And yeah, Jerax just blinks himself the hell out there. Doesn't want to get caught in the Slight Fish Universe. Popping the blade mail. Gets himself over the ice charge there with the Force Staff. Will be able to get himself on the retreat. And still just EG trying to work their way around Hot6 and Will down on the base for Rev. He's going for a 1-for-1 here with Fear. BKB is popped. Fear just says, okay, I'm out. Universe has got that hook shot fairly low in terms of health. So not really wanting to go back in. The Guardian Crew is there. Now he's going to help him out with that one. And we are going to see Ferev now with a completed Satanic. I mean, he is a gyrocopter. There is that potential to hold the base very, very nicely. But it's certainly getting harder and harder. But it does seem as well at the same time that EG haven't quite got it in them to break the base in one fell swoop. They're having to do it slowly, bit by bit.
Yeah, but this is the way that you want to do it. Like, in reality, EG could probably take a 5-man fight, but there's no reason to take the risk and
going in, forcing Forev back. Of course, he doesn't have that BKB. Was using the top lane against Fear, but Universe getting caught out will go down. That's your clock at the sidelines for 70 seconds. Nice Sonic Wave, but nothing coming of it because the Guardian Crew is pretty much negating the burst damage from it. And Zell off the back, EG getting themselves out. There's going to be a snowball forward onto Fear. Jerax, so that's a lot of damage there for the Slider Fist. They're going to lose the Tusk. 1v1 here, but the difference being that Jerax does have buyback available. And now he just on this bottom lane, keeping the pressure on here. Making sure that none of the lanes escape the base of Hot6. Samel just sitting down, spamming out the Slider Fist. Because Fear's going to have him covered in that respect. But 23-17, still 47 minutes in. A little bit of a stalemate, it certainly feels like at this stage of the game, with EG neither able to break the base in its entirety and Hot6 unable to really kind of push back out.
It's just mainly because taking a 5-man engagement versus a gyro that's this farm against Grave and Tombstone and all that, EG just don't really feel like they want to take the risk. They're just like, okay, well, we have high mobility, let's abuse that. We hook shot in, we force the gyrocopter to stay bottom, then we attack top racks, we go in mid, we hook again, we just keep dealing damage to the base. Like, what's the point of taking a 5-man if you don't have to? I mean, sure, they can fall back on, like, Naga Siren Song, things like that, but at the end of the day, I don't think Hot6 are going to be able to hold their base forever against this. Like, they are taking base damage, it's just very slow.
Well, maybe this will change everything. We've got a 48-minute Dazzle Midas.
All right, I have to see a stat.
This could be the game changer.
How many 47-minute Midases have we seen?
Well, I think Dazzle realizes we may be setting in for the long haul here if EG can't break the base, and Midas is just going to help capitalize on that. 5,100 gold on your Samel Ember Spirit, though.
How do you not just buy a Glimmer Cape when you have that money?
Mate, it's all about the swag.
Like, how do you... I mean, I guess. Swag? Something like that? I mean, there's no detection on EG right now. Okay, so here, another hook shot.
Hook shot onto Ferev. Again, though, is the whole hook shot 4-staff out. Universe with the tease. And there's your song. What can they do off the back of this, though? Tombstone's been popped down already by Sun. And EG going to back up. It was just, again, trying to buy time for Fear to work his way on this top set of racks. Not enough time, though. The melee racks are going to stay alive. Ferev getting healed up. Soul Rip. Guardian Greaves. He's A-okay. Nothing they can do about that. And Fear desperately keeps going back in, trying to find these racks. He can't quite do it. Samel and Aoi pushing the bottom lane. There's your Universe hooking onto MP. Can they kill the Zeus? No! Oh, yes, they can. Slider Fist there to finish off the deal and to seal this one. Now Snowball moving forward onto Universe, blink away from Jerax. Forev moving in. PPD going to be able to buy himself some time and space, but the BKB pop by Forev. It's going to not find anything again.
Your base is dying, dude.
Okay, this is... Okay, Fear has finally been able to clear out the top lane of racks. He's found the melee racks at the top. And still just EG trying to calculate it very, very carefully. There we go. Only brought for... Oh, well, look at that stat later. Universe straight in onto Jerax. Jerax with the snowball, buying himself some time. PPD chilling around. He's ready to let it go with the freezing field if need be. And Jerax just blinking himself away. Aoi Song. They're very, very grouped up here.
This is going to hurt so bad.
Is this going to be the free... Can they do some kind of wombo combo? The Colt's just going to catch Sun. The cleave, Cellular. And there's your freezing field. Heen getting low here, buying some time with the Shallow Grave, but he still falls. Sun to fall as well. Double kill for PPD. Forev to fall. Fear gets himself a double kill. Buyback from Forev. But that's 3 heroes on the sidelines of MVP Hot6 that don't have buyback. Now they're looking for the bottom set of racks. Moving forward, Universe is going to get sarged up. MP and Fred trying to find themselves the kill. Will they be able to find it? No! The Guardian Greaves keeping him alive. Universe gets himself out. Triple kill for Fear. Looking for MP. They'll get him as well. GG, well played is called. And EG, after what seems like an eternity, finally are able to finish the game and take the victory against Hot6.
So I got to give a big shout out to Hot6 here. They put up a really good fight against arguably one of the teams at TI who a lot of people say we're going to finish top 3, right? Like if you said like EG, Secret, and then like maybe Vici Gaming or something like that, that would be, not in any particular order of course, a top 3 for a lot of people. So they come into the series, the obvious underdogs, and game 1, they make something a little bit different. They run their Tinker, they get the Aghanims on it, they make it work almost, like they were very close to being able to take that game. And then in game 2, even in a very adverse circumstance, they're able to hold EG out of their base for a very long time. And you could tell that EG were respecting the kind of damage output that they had with that Gyro and that Zeus. Even at 50 minutes, when maybe they can take a 5-man fight, EG say, we're not going to take the risk. We're just going to make sure that we do everything properly. We're going to stick to our game plan, continually split push you to death. And I got to say one more thing about EG's drafts. Like PPD, he is so good at just seeing what the weakness is of every draft, because he realized that if we pick Ember Queen, we run them both as core, it's very hard to punish. They have very little way of dealing with these heroes. So it's not a matter of us being good at going high ground. We just need cores that can't die. And that seemed to be kind of the Achilles heel here for Hot6.
Absolutely, but of course, worth noting, these games were certainly not a walk in the park for EG. Hot6, both times, giving EG a little bit of a run for their money, but at the end of the day, EG take this series 2-0, and it is the second series today that they have done so. So EG getting themselves a tasty +6 here on the group stage leaderboard. But I'm sure the beautiful men back in the studio will have more to tell you about that, and also about the other games that have been going on today. From myself and ODPixel and Draskell, we'll see you tomorrow for some more Dota 2. But now, back to the studio with Cho and his bros.
I was trying so hard to keep a straight face, and he got me. Well, here we are, me, myself, and my 3 bros here. Before we move on, I just want to say, Sumail, he's the boy, of course, going with the best fashion choice in the world, the Victory neck pillow. Huge fan of that. Bringing it back. So it's gonna be a huge trend here at TI5. I mean, as we heard the commentators, so during the game, this game, not necessarily much to dissect in terms of strategy or, you know, analyzing different parts of the game. It really kind of just played itself out. It was like we saw the draft and then we just put in a tape and then we said, all right, start, and then it had a determined ending.
Yeah, I think it's what we said when the draft was over. We were like, okay, Zeus is not really the pick here that is going to accomplish what they need to do, because end of the day, Dota is about destroying the enemy fountain. That would be ambitious. Destroying the enemy ancient, right? And they pick a Zeus, so they have like whoever is going to go in front and tank when they have to go and push the base can only be Gyro, and there's no one else. And then you look at like their lineup is actually tailored apart from the Zeus to peak at around minute 20. They have Undying, Dazzle. They had the Gyro as well, who gets like a BKB at that point in time, and then you go for these team fights and try to end the game. But they don't have what it takes to go push, and then ultimately what EG just do is they slow play it, which is the way to play that game for them. They have the Ember and the Quap, who are almost impossible to gank for the Radiant team. The only real stun they have is the Tusk, and they can just kite them basically very easily. So they just slow play, they outfarm them, and then ultimately, even if the gold is even in the late game, it's very difficult to see any way for Hot6 to reach high ground. That said, though, as the commentators also said, they're actually fighting really well. I think in this game, the draft is the problem for them, not their execution. It was just, for me, very predictable from like minute 15 that this was not going to happen.
Yeah, it must have been really frustrating for MVP Hot6. Like they want to fight under the tombstone. It's like, okay, we'll just blink away, or and they really didn't have a good way to keep anyone in place. I think they were far too reliant on the Tusk to actually start off the fights and keep them in fights. But Ember and Queen of Pain, they just played the keep away game, got really, really farmed, stole the enemy Ancients, and then just took it from there. And I mean, MP seems slightly limited in his hero pool that can actually play well with his team. I'm sure he can play a lot of heroes, but it seemed like in that game, as you said, the Zeus not particularly well with what they wanted to achieve.
Yeah, we do have a quick, highlight of just the ending moments as we continue to wrap up the game. Winter, you mentioned that before we went into the game during the draft. You said, well, he does have a very particular set of heroes. He likes to just play those spellcasters. And we were discussing during the game some other options that could have happened if it wasn't empty, right? If it was a different team for that mid lane.
Yeah, we were talking about Viper a lot because it synergizes a lot with their lineup. It's tanky, very good in the lane, peaks at 20 to 25 minutes, and it allows them to have the secondary tank to stand in the front line instead of just the gyro alone. So that greatly helps and fortifies their lineup by a huge margin, having the Viper instead of the Zeus.
Yeah, so, and it did sound like, I mean, even during the draft we saw, okay, maybe they really, at the very least, wanted that Storm as a different lineup. Still would have been maybe not exactly a flip side situation, but they did get caught off guard, had to fill in, so to speak, with the Zeus. And Hot6 not able to hold in through the game. Of course, in that last fight, we do see, once again, I mean, just the power of all the heroes that EG picked, especially the song coming from Naga. Again, everything's perfectly set up. You just walk behind them. All right, here are the cogs. Boom, boom, boom. Fight happens, and then that's the wrap for EG. So let's take a quick look at the standings before we wrap up the day. That was the last game of the day. So in Group B, finally we're seeing a bit more of a distinction. EG leading forward with 8 points. Of course, 4 matches played, so quite a few in Group B. But a 2-win, 2-tie record, no losses. Not a bad place to be for EG after day 1. Of course, Group A, as we mentioned earlier, LGD and Secret leading with 10 points. Now, we're halfway through the week, so we're halfway through the group stages, so to speak. I mean, some teams have played 1 or 2 less matches compared to the others. Now, do we have any surprises or teams that are maybe pleasantly surprising you guys?
Well, even though, I guess the ones to highlight for me are, even though MVP Hot6 did lose this match, I still think they've been pretty impressive. I expect them to definitely, if they play the style they do now, if they get their draft together, I actually do think they have a shot at top 8. As the only MVP team, to be fair. I don't think MVP
Right.
Phoenix has what it takes, but Hot6 are actually looking pretty good. Apart from that, CDEC being second in Group B right now is a big surprise. They've played 3 games though. They have 2 wins and was it 1 loss?
One
or
loss, yeah.
And 1 loss. So I can't remember what teams they've played against. They did 2-0 Empire, I believe.
Right, that was their last match today.
Pretty surprising for me. I would have not expected that.
0-2 VP, and I think they beat MVP 2-0.
Yes, I do believe so.
And Empire 2-0'd VP. So that means VP, CDEC, and Empire have 2-0'd each other in like a triangle.
Yeah,
so
fair point.
that's pretty interesting.
Now, what about you, Winter? I mean, do any teams particularly stand out to you that deviate from your original expectations?
Mainly newbie, I'd say.
Yeah.
They surprised everyone. I mean, it's not just me. Everyone had mixed feelings about the team. They underwent a lot of changes in the past, and they just weren't the same team that won TI last year. But then again, like Sin said, we haven't watched them play for quite some time, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to predict how well they will do. And they did 3 draws,
Yeah, 3 draws.
and all against very formidable opponents.
So hopefully things just start to go up and up for them from here and maybe secure a top 4 spot. It's not out of the question. Group B definitely still a little bit more flexible in terms of standings. Group A looks more or less a little bit more determined. What do you think about Group A, Ben?
I think complexity is a surprise for me. 2-1-1, they performed very well versus Na'Vi. In particular. I guess the first game could have gone either way, but still having 7 points, especially in this group. LGD, I thought would be just slightly stronger than IG and Vici, but it looks like they're maybe like a full half tier ahead of them. I thought those 3 would be like more even. They could have been interchangeable in places, but clearly LGD has shown that they're ahead of the pack.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, halfway through the week, tomorrow's schedules. Let's take a quick look at how we're going to kick off the day. So at the very start here, we're going to have Team Secret versus LGD. So may or may not just be the game to decide who's going to be that first seed for Group A. On stream 2, we'll have Cloud9 starting things off again nice and early tomorrow up against IG this time, and Na'Vi versus Fnatic. So all 3 pretty interesting matches, and matches that could really start to determine and form where are these teams going to land. I mean, Na'Vi and Fnatic, of course, Na'Vi still fighting for some extra points. Cloud9 in the same boat, but IG also not, ranking that high yet in terms of points. So all 3 matches are going to matter. Again, we start at 9 a.m. PDT. Thank you so much for tuning in for day 2 of the group stages of the International 2015. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time, same place.